With the NBA draft being a few days away, I wanted to do a special long reaction video for you guys, and we are going to be reacting to 6 different mock drafts for this upcoming NBA draft. And what I love about this, every mock is completely different. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Yeah, like I said, we're gonna walk through 6 different mocks, one of them being a video version as well. We're gonna start things off with the athletics mock, and I am very excited for this because, like I said, every mock is gonna be different. Some guys that are going in the lottery may not even be first round picks in some other NBA mocks. So yeah, we're gonna react to all these. If you guys do enjoy this, I would appreciate it if you drop it a thumbs up. This is me doing this big one instead of like doing like 6 different videos. My mock, my official mock, will come out either Sunday or Monday if I can't get around to it. Just gotta make the graphics for it because I'm not gonna be doing it on Fanspo. Gonna have a different vibe to it as we lead up to the 2024 NBA draft, which I am very excited for. So we're starting off with the Athletic. Sam Vecenie, maybe the most respected guy out of all these analysts we are gonna react to. And yeah, let's get into this. So to start it off, wow, Donovan Clingan, number 1 to the Atlanta Hawks. Team is comfortable selecting at number 1. And there's maybe an impression it could be Clingan. He said it's been the name I've heard linked with the Hawks the most over the past week. That's crazy. All right, so there's the talks that Alex Sarr has not even worked out yet with the Atlanta Hawks. Sarr shares the same agent as Luka Doncic did when he was going through the pre-draft process and didn't want to work out with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm not really sure what's the reasoning behind that, but as we're mocking, right, that's not what we would do. We're predicting. Why predict Alex Sarr to go number 1 now? I would take him number 1 overall, but I don't know if he's going to go number 1 overall now. I'm leaning towards Reese Hachey in my mock now to be the number 1 pick. I do think that's what Atlanta's going to do, but I just love the variance at the top. Donovan Clingan, who I think has gone 9, he's gone 11 in mocks, he's gone 1, he's gone 3, he's gone all over the place in mocks, and here he is going number 1 overall. Would be kind of crazy. We see the sophomore center be the number 1 overall pick in this draft. I would go Sarr, but I guess I wouldn't be totally shocked if it is Clingan. So that leaves Sarr number 2 to the Washington Wizards. I mean, this would be just a home run pick for Washington, in my opinion, getting the best player in this draft at number 2, and now you have kind of athletic freaks in your front court to build for the future. Apparently there's been the Sarr. I don't know how true it is that he wants to play the power forward position, but either way, man, if he's your center, like you throw him there, and Bilal Coulibaly and Denny Avdia, perimeter guys around him that can pass, dribble, shoot, and are lanky defenders, and then you add in just like what they could possibly get out of Corey Kispert as a rotational piece, the 26th pick in this draft, the Kyle Kuzma trade return. Hopefully, it has to be a bounce back year from Jordan Poole. No way he's as bad this year as he was last year, and you're just getting more depth with this team, and I think getting obviously the best player in this class would warrant an A+ grade for me, and it's really looking like that's what it's going to come to, which is kind of crazy. So we got Reese Hachey falling in this mock. That is nuts, man. Like, I may have him number 1, and he's not even top 3 in Sam Vecenie's mock. So what's been a staple has pretty much been Reed Sheppard at number 3. It seems like Houston likes him a ton, and I think for a team like Houston that has their front court guys in Jabari Smith and Şengün, they have their backcourt guys in Thompson and Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green, and you have Cam Whitmore and Tari Eason. Like, they don't really have a need in anything right now, so why not get the best shooter in this class? He can play a point guard spot, he can play an off-ball player, and he can hold his own on the defensive end of the floor. You might as well go Reed Sheppard. So I agree with this pick 100% if that's the way that this draft falls. And San Antonio, who's been talked about potentially moving up to number 1 to get Reese Hachey, he just lands in their laps at number 4, which obviously would be fantastic for them. They're getting someone that can defend right away, so you're getting the appeal of somebody like a Ron Holland, a Stephon Castle, like that defense. Not as good as those 2 guys, but still a good defender overall. But then you're getting someone that could hopefully be a much better shooter than those guys and could shoot north of 37% from 3 at the NBA level. So this is a phenomenal pick by the San Antonio Spurs if this were to happen. And getting my 4th ranked player at number 4 is pretty good. Like, you take that. So number 5, do they go Buzelis? Does he go Buzelis? Does he go Stephon Castle? He goes Matas Buzelis. There's the connection. I don't know if he's going to mention him. He doesn't, but like on the business side of things, the CEO son is Matas Buzelis' agent, and there's plenty of connections there. I mean, there's the appeal that you could play Buzelis between Asor Thompson and Jalen Duren, and he's someone that can also be a good defender, and then if he's able to space the floor, can be a good shooter right away. So, or not even right away. He could be a really good player if he could space the floor. That may not come in year 1. If that comes in year 2, though, you'll definitely take it. So, a different top 5, man. Like, for sure, seeing Donovan Clingan go number 1 overall in this definitely a shot. Like, I don't know if we're going to see Donovan Clingan go number 1 in any other mocks. So at number 6, we got Stephon Castle going to the Charlotte Hornets. I love this for them. I do. I don't know how much like that is true that Castle wants to be the franchise point guard, but he could really play alongside LaMelo Ball. And if LaMelo Ball misses some time, can help them out and play the backup point guard position, but can also run the floor and be the primary ball handler. And LaMelo Ball can play off ball because he is a fantastic shooter. And you have him and LaMelo Ball next to Castle could really hide Castle's weakness right now, which is his outside shot. It's a slow release. I feel like it starts really low and he gets it up. Like, that's not going to play at the NBA level right away. He's going to have to work on that, tweak it a little bit, but the defense is going to play. When LaMelo is controlling the ball, he can cut, slash, he knows where to be off ball. I love that fit a ton. 7, Portland getting Cody Williams. A lot of upside in that pick for sure. He's going to be a good defender right away, in my opinion. Not a great one, but I think he'll be able to hold his own with his length, his lateral quickness. For somebody with his size, we'll see if the shot's going to be consistent. I don't think it's going to be as good as it was at Colorado. I think it's going to regress a little bit to what he was in high school, which wasn't a great shooter, and in the EYBL, but I think he'll be fine enough where he could still hold his own on that end of the floor, and it'll come. And if he is able to control the ball and not turn it over and have a good handle and be able to knock down shots consistently, this could be a home run pick at number 7. Number 8, we have the San Antonio Spurs going Dalton Knecht. All right, so they end up with the Reese Ashe and Knecht in this mock. I don't know if I really love that. I don't. Knecht is really good at, I mean, like, he can help them out offensively too, and with all the attention on Wemby, that could be great. So we're not even going to touch point guard. Who's going to be their point guard next year, Sam? Are they going to sign Tyus Jones in free agency? Are they going to end up with Chris Paul? I don't know. I think just the way that this is falling with Rob Dillingham, Isaiah Collier, Nikola Topic also on the board, and you went wing with Reese Ashe at 4, I would have targeted a guard here. I do like Dalton Knecht, who can come in right away. And I think if you want somebody older that is not a project, go Devin Carter here, because at least he can somewhat handle the ball a little bit better than Knecht. But Knecht's a really good player. I just wonder about that timeline. And now you have Reese Ashe, him, Sohan, Keldon Johnson, Vassell, Branham, like a lot of young guys. Who's going to really emerge as one of the top forwards on that team going forward? Memphis getting Devin Carter at 9. I mean, Marcus Smart Light coming right in, man. That is going to be such an important player to their playoff team. I mean, if I'm OKC, I mean, they traded for Caruso, so maybe we don't really need Devin Carter now, but I would have loved to see Devin Carter in OKC, and Memphis gets an absolute stud, someone that is going to help them win playoff games next year, because they're trying to win the finals. If Ja Morant reverts back to being a top 10 player in the league before the injury and the suspension, or at least a borderline top 10 player, you have Triple J as one of the league's best defenders, Desmond Bane's a knockdown shooter, Smart, Clark, Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams, Luke Kennard if they bring him back, like all good complementary pieces, and then you're adding in Devin Carter into the mix. Memphis can contend in the West for sure next year. And to finish out the top 10, T-John Salon going to the Utah Jazz. So we see Isaiah Collier fall out of the top 10. We see Nikola Topic fall out of the top 10. And they get the upside play in T-John Salon, who could be a solid shooter right away. He could be a fine rebounder, but he's definitely going to have to work on his overall feel for the game. I have no idea what Utah's going to do this offseason. Are they going to move John Collins? Are they going to move Jordan Clarkson or Colin Sexton? Are they extending or trading Lowry Markkanen? Obviously, they want to develop Hendricks, Sensabaugh, and Keontae George. And this guy at number 10, I'm all for the project play, and Salon he's also one of the younger players in this class. 11, Chicago getting Nikola Topic. Did this come out before the Caruso trade? Let's find out. This came out on June 20th. That was the day of the Caruso trade. So I'm not sure if he knew about this. Either way, like Giddey's on the team, Caruso no longer there. I just don't know if I like Topic. I mean, I think Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu can thrive as off-ball players, but if Giddey is going to be your franchise point guard, like at least your playmaker, I don't know, though. I could see the appeal in Topic. I guess I'd rather have Topic go to Chicago than like a Rob Dillingham, right? Who we have yet to see his name in this mock, which is kind of crazy. So I'm all for Topic going to Chicago, just as long as like he is able to develop there, right? I mean, they fumbled guys' developments in the past, but if they're entering into a rebuild, somebody with his modern day size for the point guard position, he's going to be able to space the floor. He's a good free throw shooter right now. I like the release. He's got great court vision, high basketball IQ. I think he'll be fine. We just got to worry about the partially torn ACL. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. He may be out for half the year, and that could linger to missing his full rookie season, which isn't the end of the world by any means. We've seen guys come back. Whoa! All right. So yeah, this actually what came out before the Giddey trade because it's saying they're looking to move him. But either way, man, Bub Carrington at 12? Wow, ahead of Rob Dillingham. That is insane. Ahead of Ron Holland. Oh, this draft is really going to be one of a kind because we have no idea what's happening, man. I've done mocks where I've seen Carrington at 7 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I've seen him 20 to the Cavs. I've seen him like now as high as 12 to the OKC Thunder, a team that I don't really think needs Bub Carrington, but he's a good passer, he's a good shooter, he's got good size, he's one of the younger players in this class. I mean, that's a phenomenal pick. A lot of big men still on the board. Ron Holland is still on the board. I don't agree with that. I don't. He has Rob Dillingham, who is also still on the board, going 13 to the Kings. I assume this, definitely came out before Malik Monk, if they were to lose him. But Dillingham, I'm for this. Even if they bring back, or after they brought back Malik Monk, they could use a microwave scorer off the bench. They could also use some wings, like Ron Holland still on the board. They could go with a big as well, to come off the bench, or hope that maybe you could still revert Sabonis back to the 4 if it's a floor spacing big man at 13. Portland going Zach Edey at 14. All right, this has to be a pure mock. I don't know if Assini likes him this much. 14. Zach Edey's going to go ahead of Ron Holland. That is crazy. That is crazy. So he's Cody Williams and Zach Edey going. I have no idea where Edey's going, man. This is crazy. It's not really been rumored too much. Could he go to Portland at 14? Maybe. I mean, they may move Robert Williams. Dwop Reith could potentially not be like a long-term play. DeAndre Ayton's fine offensively. I guess you're going just depth here with Edey. And who knows, like Portland going Cody Williams, who's a project play at 7. They still wanted to develop Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson. Maybe they want somebody a little bit more NBA ready, which I'm totally fine with. 15, we got the Miami Heat getting Ron Holland. Stop. I would protest the league. You're getting a top 5 defender in this class. In my opinion, the most athletic player in this class at 15, and I just love that spot for him. Oh my God, man, that gets me excited. That gets me excited. This dude wants to win. He plays hard, loves contact, aggressive at the rim. So athletic, man. So athletic. This would be such a steal if he fell to 15. Philly getting Jared McCain at 16. If they have an option between Jared McCain, Tristan Da Silva, and Isaiah Collier, what are we doing? That is so many good options for Philadelphia, and they would get a good shooter, like somebody they need to develop and be here long term. There's too much roster turnover with this Sixers team right now. They've had like 7, 8 new guys come in and out every single year. Let's get guys on multi-year contracts. Let's develop somebody at 16 who's going to be here throughout the rest of Maxi's career, or at least most of it, and same with Embiid in Philadelphia. Tristan Da Silva going to the Lakers at 17. I'm all for this. I mean, Kel'el Ware is still on the clock if they do want to move Edey to the 4. And getting Da Silva is a great player, in my opinion, on the older side, but could do a little bit of everything. He could dribble, pass, shoot, defend, run in transition, high basketball IQ. His athleticism is not jumping out of the gym. He's not super quick, but honestly, he's a high IQ player that can help the Lakers right away next year, different to what the Jalen Hood-Schifino pick was last year. Magic going need here with Johnny Furphy at 18, getting my 5th best shooter in this class, and someone that can come in right away. Has good size, good looking form, and can compete with Jett Howard for like that, like a sharpshooter off the bench role, depending on what they end up with like in free agency. Are they going after a Klay Thompson now that Malik Monk's off the board? Are they going to pivot to a different shooter on the market? I've seen this mocked a couple times. Jacoby Walter going to the Toronto Raptors. All right, that makes sense for them, going athleticism, 3-and-D guy here, complimentary piece to Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett next year. Cleveland at 20 going Keyshawn George. Definitely some better options on the board. He's a little bit older too, like at 20, like it's not super old, super young, but I think he needs a little bit of time to develop in this league. And Cleveland, I don't know. I think they can get somebody on the board here, like a Kevin McCullough, like a Kel'el Ware, like a Tyler Smith even, that could help them next year. De'Ron Holmes as well. Like, are we running into next year with Tristan Thompson as our 3rd-string big man again? You know what I mean, right? So, like, I don't know if Keyshawn George is that guy, because he can be really good when he's 25, but does Cleveland have the patience? UBC going to the Pelicans at 21. I've seen this mock a ton. Him and Zion in that front court is weird because they're not spacing the 4. Misi doesn't have a jump shot. Zion really doesn't have a jump shot, but he does definitely have a Clint Capella style play to him. 22 Phoenix, Tyler Kolek. I've been mocking this a ton as of late. You guys know that. And they need a playmaking point guard, someone that knows the game, can play under bright lights, and can come in right away and get the ball to Devin Booker, get it to KD, get it to Bradley Beal, right? Like, he's not going to take bad shots. He's going to be playing winning basketball, and that's what Phoenix needs, man. Don't take Bronny James here. What are we doing? 23, Milwaukee gets Kel'el Ware. That's another home run, man. That is a huge pick for them. Brook Lopez might not be on this team next year, and he could get moved this offseason. There's been rumors. He may, he's getting older. You need replacements, right? Bobby Portis is going to need an extension. Let's get Kel'el Ware, who I think is playing in a winning environment like Milwaukee, and he can learn under if it's still Brook Lopez or Giannis, can really hit his peak potential, which could be a top 15 defending big man in this league that could space the floor and is super athletic. Knicks getting Kyle Filipowski at 24. I mean, the Knicks could use a big man. They may trade Mitchell Robinson. They may lose Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't like Filipowski that much here at 24 over Deron Holmes or Tyler Smith, so I disagree with this a lot. I just don't think he's going to be a good defender, and I think the shot is going to be relatively inconsistent. This has been mocked a ton. Ryan Dunn to the New York Knicks, which I'm all for. The best defender in this class, and the Knicks could definitely use somebody like that off the bench. It's tough, though, because if you have like a lineup off the bench with like, say it's Dante DiVincenzo, say it's Josh Hart, Miles McBride, Mitchell Robinson, and Bojan Bogdanovic. Not a lot of offense in that five, right? Like Ryan Dunn isn't creating his own shot. He's a good slasher cutter. He can finish at the rim, but the dude can't shoot. So maybe DiVincenzo or Josh Hart could teach him his ways in the offseason. But with that, Isaiah Collier was on the board, and you had to say, what? Come on, man. That is, oh my God. Washington gets Alex Sarr and Isaiah Collier. That would be an A+++ for me on my post-draft grades after draft night. That would be insane. Oh my God. I don't see the Knicks passing up on him. I don't see, at both the picks. I don't even think I see Milwaukee passing up on him. Phoenix, no. New Orleans can get their franchise point guard. Wow. Yeah, I don't think if he falls that low, that is criminal. What is he saying about that? Wow, yeah, that would be a long slide. Trouble finding his floor? What? Come on, man. He gets to the line. The dude is a good shooter. He's a stocky defender. He's got a good handle. He was great after the wrist injury. He was great. The Wizards, man, they would get, I think, a franchise point guard. I think Collier has the potential at 26 to be a franchise point guard. And you'd be getting him and Alex Sarr in the same draft is insane. Minnesota getting another big man at 27. Where is he playing next year? You have Cat, Gobert, Naz Reid. I mean, I'm not saying take a guard just to take a guard, but like, I don't know if there's really a need for Deron Holmes in Minnesota next year, and he's NBA ready. Jalen Tyson to Denver, 28. I love this. Dude, loves contact, physical dude, wants to get to the rim, and can shoot the ball, and I think is actually perfect in Denver. Different than what they've done in the past with like Julian Strawther or like Hunter Tyson, or definitely Peyton Watson. Utah, 29, Baylor Shireman. I like this a lot. So they go, what'd they get at 10? Was it T-John Salon or Delta Connect? It was T-John Salon, so a little bit of an older prospect here in Baylor Shireman, which I'm all for. He can play make for sure. He can honestly defend. It's not terrible. He's quick, and he's obviously a great shooter as well. Tyler Smith to the Celtics at 30. Oh my God. And developing in that system would be phenomenal. This dude can hit threes from the big man spot right away. I think he plays closer to 6'10 than he is at 6'9, and I'm a big fan of his game for sure. So I would love that for Boston. I like that for Utah and Denver. Minnesota, Deron Holmes is weird for them. I think Denver's been mocked a ton for Holmes as making him the promise. I do believe Collier 26 is insane, man. That is crazy of a fall. So much is switched up. Like, the draft process has switched up so much. Like, Ron Holland's falling. Rob Dillingham is falling. Isaiah Collier is falling. Where is this all coming from? Where is this all coming from? Nikola Jokic is obviously falling. That makes sense because of the injury. I know Dillingham's nursing an injury, but he's going to be fine. Why is Ron Holland falling? Because of the motor? I don't think so. This dude wants to win. It's weird, man. So, going to breeze through some of these second-round picks, some of my favorite. I like Bobby Klitman going to the Raptors. Love Cam Christie to the Utah Jazz. That's a good fit. Milwaukee going A.J. Johnson. I absolutely hate that. This dude is too raw of a prospect. I'd take him, like, I would undrafted free agent sign him. Like, that's what I would do. Or wait in the second. Milwaukee kind of needs to hit on this pick as well as a rotational guy, and that's not going to be A.J. Johnson. But Bakoma Daddy going to Portland at 34. I'm fine with that. With going like Edie at 14, they could take a project play here. Nikola Jurisic to the Spurs at 35, like the playmaking. A.J. Mitchell to the Pacers, 36. Love that. Shannon to Minnesota at 37. There we go. All right. Terrence Shannon and Deron Holmes. That's actually a pretty good draft, though. Jamal Sheed to the Knicks at 38. Are we just taking defenders for Tibbs? We get Jamal Sheed, and we're getting Ryan Dunn, okay? Adem Bona to the Grizzlies at 39. I love that. Adem Bona can make winning basketball plays for sure. Pele Larson to Portland at 40. He's fine. Definitely needs to go into the right situation. Emric Freeman to the Sixers at 41. I don't love that as a player there, and I don't really like Jalen Wells. Like, he's going to hit open shots. I think that's really it. Cam Spencer, 43 to the Heat. If Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra like him that much, I like Cam Spencer. I may need to like him even more if that actually ends up happening. Love Jonathan Mobo to Houston. Tristan Newton to Sacramento at 45. I don't really love that, especially when they went guard earlier. Oso Ighodaro going to the Clippers at 46. I don't even think Oso winning some of these mocks as well that we're gonna do in this video, which is kind of crazy. Harrison Ingram 47, Melvin Ajinka 48, Trey Alexander 49. I like that. I think he actually be a good shot creator. PJ Halt's 50 to the Pacers. This is where I would just take Bronny for shits and gigs. Like, why not, man? You have a couple seconds. Juan Yunis to the Wizards. Kevin McCullough to the Warriors at 52. How is he falling that low? That's crazy. Antonio Reeves to Detroit. Jalen Bridges to Boston. Bronny to the Lakers at 55. That makes sense. Justin Edwards going 56. That's low. Ariel from Melbourne, 57. I've seen him be drafted. I've seen him not. I don't really know if he will. And KJ Simpson falling to 58 when he's been mocked in the first round. This draft is absolute insanity, man. We are seeing guys getting mocked all over the place, which I'm so excited to react to on draft night. For sure. So, hope you guys did enjoy this athletic reaction. Let's get to the other ones. All right, so let's react to ESPN's 2024 updated mock draft. This one actually came out pretty recently, June 20th, so just a few days ago. And they have Zachary Reese-Shea going #1 overall. It really does seem like this is going to happen. More and more news is coming out and little rumors that Alex Sarr is going to drop to #2. It is crazy, but hey, I guess it's not totally shocking, right? So I think we are trending in that direction of Reese-Shea #1. So kind of wild that the Athletic had Donovan Clingan #1, which could still happen 100%, which means they have Alex Sarr going 2 and Reed Sheppard going 3. That has been a consistent trend for sure. And it's seeming more and more likely that we are going to see this maybe be the top 3. Like, I think in my mock, it's going to be Reese-Shea 1, Sarr 2. Sheppard 3. And I didn't think Sarr was going to be a Wizard. So honestly, shout out Washington, man. You guys are still going to be bad next year. You may be the worst team in the NBA, but you are going to have an exciting future, and you are going to see probably improvements in 25 when that's a loaded draft class as well, and then in 26, and then maybe actually be somewhat of a contender in 2027 if you guys handle this rebuild correctly. All right, so this is where maybe the draft could shake up. Jonathan Givony and Jeremy Wu do have Stephon Castle going #4 to San Antonio. I probably agree with this as well. I think this is probably becoming more and more what my top 4 is going to look like right now. I just don't see them passing up on the opportunity to take Castle with Reese-Shea and Reed Sheppard off the board. Someone that can defend, can play make, can play off ball. Just seems like a right guy to have in this San Antonio Spurs rebuild for sure. And he gets to play with Wemby, which is going to help. And hey, he's going to get a lot of open threes, so he can work on that 3-point percentage for sure. Buzelis going 5 to Detroit. I think that's what I'm going to have as well. Now, 6 is probably where it starts. They have Dalton Connect. We've talked about Buzelis plenty of times, or we will in this video, about his fit in Detroit and how it's a big risk. It could maybe work out, it could maybe not, but hey, they're willing to take that risk, it seems like, at #5. And then 6, Charlotte going Dalton Connect. I don't really love, but I don't hate it, right? Like, I think there's a lot of good guys, and I know you already have your point guard and center and Mark Williams and LaMelo Ball, but I would think about Rob Dillingham. I would think about Donovan Clingan, like best player available. I would think about Ron Holland as well. So I don't know if I would typically agree with Dalton Connect for this Hornets rebuild. It just seems weird because by the time they're contending, he's going to be like 28 years old, right? 27 years old, because they're into a rebuild as well. And hey, maybe there's a scenario where Charlotte is like the 10th seed next year, and then they try to capitalize on that momentum and go up and up. I just don't know if Connect. I don't know. It's just weird, but I actually don't hate it though. It's just like, gotta kind of get into it right now. We have Donovan Clingan going 7 to Portland. I've mocked that a ton. I mean, this seems like the floor for him. Like, he can fall to 7, but I think if we're expecting a draft night trade, does Charlotte think that they can get connected #9? Because I don't know if San Antonio or Memphis would, or San Antonio, or Portland would try to take Dalton Connect, so maybe they trade down, or maybe Detroit trades down as well if they like Connect at 9, and they can get like an additional first for Memphis to try to go up and get Donovan Clingan, who could definitely be in the market for a center this offseason. I know NBA University threw out the Walker Kessler tweet. Love that. I just don't know if Utah would be willing to trade him, and I think that might be a little too soon, right? Unless Utah can end up with Clingan in this draft. So at #8, we have Rob Dillingham going to the Spurs. I mean, getting Dillingham and Castle was great. I don't know. I would rather than maybe go with with Castle and Ron Holland, because this team was not a good defensive team, and you're going to have like a defensive foundation next year, basically, with Stephon Castle, with Jeremy Sohan, with Victor Wembanyama, and with Ron Holland if you went him here at 8. That is something to build around. That is exciting to have in that locker room. But hey, it makes sense. I didn't know that he played for Chris Paul's EYBL team. That could, you know what? Could we see Dillingham and Chris Paul in the Spurs next year? Probably, probably, honestly. So we got Memphis taking Cody Williams at number 9. High upside play. I think that's still a big debate. What's Memphis going to do? Are they going to try to go like the Devin Carter, Donovan Clingan, Dalton Connect route? Someone that's NBA ready, or someone that could still be good in year 1 like a Cody Williams, but probably won't be a perfect player and will take a little bit of time to develop. Like, that's the Cody Williams of the world. Ron Holland, Buzelis, Salon, like all those guys. You're going with a little bit of risk, but very high upside. And I think we have to figure out, is Memphis going to be doing that at number 9? We have Nikola Topic going number 10 to the Utah Jazz. I love this, him falling to 10, and with Dillingham and Shepard and Castle all in the top 10, this makes a ton of sense, I think, to go for his upside long term. And then you're hopefully, yeah, like they said, making a run at Cooper Flagg next year. Wouldn't be the worst idea, yeah. I guess they got to figure out, once again, what are they doing with Lauri Markkanen. But he, I think, would fit this rebuild very, like, perfectly. And he's, like, I don't know, I think he can contribute this year if he's healthy, and obviously next year. And this rebuild is trying to get, like, over the rebuild stage, right? Like, they're trying to compete and contend in the Western Conference, which it's very tough to do, but they have the assets to pull it off 100%. So, yeah, so he's visiting teams in the U.S. right now. Portland, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like him ending up in Portland. Him and Scoot just wouldn't work together, in my opinion. Just limitations offensively and shooting wise, because they're not great off-ball players. San Antonio at 8, obviously I love. Memphis at 9, don't really get that too much. And Utah at 10 being on the schedule. Wow. So is Topic not even interviewing with teams in the top, like, 6? That's crazy. All right, well, I guess I'm done mocking him there in the top 6, even though I haven't done it in a little bit. We have Devin Carter going to the Bulls at number 11. This did come out on the day of the Giddey trade. I don't think it happens now, and hopefully this team is entering into a proper rebuild, and you'd be more inclined to take like a Tijon Salon, who can actually fit that upside long term. Ron Holland also would fit that as well. Jacoby Walter, Khalil Ware, those guys, rather than going Devin Carter, which I get you could still use another defender, and he's still only 22 years old. It's not like he's crazy old, but I feel like Chicago should be going in a different direction. And at number 12, I don't hate OKC going this route. I mean, there's plenty of big mans on the board that they could go, but they go the project playing Tijon Salon. It would be cool to see Cody Williams, though, playing with his brother now that they're probably out of like the Devin Carter sweepstakes or the Jared McCain sweepstakes now that they ended up trading for Alex Caruso. Oh, this was actually, they knew about the... I guess Carter is going to be the Caruso replacement is what they're saying, which I guess you could look at and still run this team back. All right. 13, Ron Holland to the Kings. I love that. Oh, my God. If Sacramento gets Ron Holland, man, and they brought back Malik Monk. It's getting exciting, man. It's getting exciting in Sacramento for sure. Portland at 14 going Jacoby Walter. I like that upside. So you're getting Donovan Clingan and Jacoby Walter in this draft. That is great. I mean, if you can get Donovan Clingan and somehow Ron Holland, oh, my God, I would love that so much for Portland. 15... Why do they keep mocking this? Do they have some intel? I don't know. I don't know. That are drafting in front of Miami is getting interest. Okay, like Utah, Portland, Sacramento, sure. I don't see Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley, these guys that love athletic dudes that are going to crash the glass, that are going to fly over the floor, that can run the floor, and they're going to take Zach Edey at 16. I don't see that. I'll have to wait until draft night to ever admit that this is going to happen, because I don't know why they keep mocking Edey at 15 to the Miami Heat. I've seen Edey at 12 to the Thunder, so I'm like overseeing Edey this high. Like, that's not my gripe. It's just the Miami Heat fit specifically, right? Like, you got Bam, you need some depth on the perimeter or a starting guard. Maybe you go out and you get somebody there at 15, like with some good options. Isaiah Collier's on the board. Jared McCain's on the board. I even think Khalil Ware fits this team more, Tyler Smith, or a Deron Holmes than a Zach Edey. So I kind of disagree with that one. We got Jared McCain affiliate at 16. I mean, I love this for them. They're going to probably not bring back Buddy Hield. They need some shooting right away. He can step in and play alongside Tyrese Maxey. I would be a big fan of that. Tristan DeSilva going to the Lakers. They could use another wing as well, and that could allow them some flexibility if they wanted to move on from Vando or Hashimura this offseason, because you have DeSilva who could play 18 to 20 minutes a night for a playoff team next year. I think so for sure. I wanted to see him go to a playoff caliber team. Like, that's why I'd be upset with this mock. Like, I don't want to see Devin Carter go to Chicago. I want to see this dude play in June. I do. Or at least May. Next up at 18, Johnny Fairfield to the Magic with Jared McCain off the board. This makes a ton of sense, but I would go Isaiah Collier here. Why is Collier not going in the top 20 in these mocks? It blows my mind. Keyshawn George to the Raptors at 19. Wow. Don't know if I like that. It's a little high, but you know what? I see the athleticism play there. I see the 3D development. He's no more than a complimentary piece. But with Holmes and Ware and Smith on the board, go big man or Yves Missi. I'm sure we have Yves Missi to the Pelicans at 21. We have Bub Carrington to the Cavs at 20. I don't know if they're going to take a guard. Like, yeah, you have Collier and Carrington on the board. That is insane for this mock. And would they take a backup point guard when they already kind of had something in Craig Porter last year? And you only need that guy to play like 15 minutes a night because you got Darius Garland playing, obviously, at a high level. I mean, I know he had a down year, but he's still a really good player. So I don't know if I would see them there. They could also use another big, so these bigs are falling. Yves Missi seems like the most common thing at 21, and Tyler Kolek's at 22. That is mocked in so many mocks, and makes me feel a little bit better about my mocks as well, because I've been doing that with no intel. These guys have intel, and they're mocking that. So I think that's probably what's going to happen for me at 21 and 22. And I mean, those are positions of need, like with Jonas Valanciunas probably not coming back, with Phoenix not having any point guards basically on the roster. Those are huge. I mean, Milwaukee getting Khalil Ware 23 is fantastic value. That is somebody that can legitimately replace Brook Lopez. Not at his level next year, but honestly, I think in year 2, definitely. Playing with somebody with a high motor like Giannis next to him could be perfect for his development. I hate seeing Filipowski to the Knicks. I don't like it. Tyler Smith is on the board. Deron Holmes is on the board. I hate this. I'm not a big fan of Kyle Filipowski. I hope he proves me wrong, but I'm not a big fan of his game right now. At least to the Knicks specifically in that fit. Like Washington at 26, even with Sarr, I see that, sure. I could see him in Milwaukee. I just don't know if I like the Knicks fit. Ryan Dunn, though, I love Ryan Dunn. I would love if they can get Ryan Dunn with their early second rounder. Probably not likely. So getting him here on a 4-year rookie contract, I'm cool with. Best defender in this draft. Isaiah Collier. That is the second time I've seen this, man. How? How are they getting Sarr and Collier? I mean, man, I love that for Washington, but that is just crazy if that ends up happening. Terrence Shannon to Minnesota at 27. They can go NBA-ready wing for sure. Holmes to Denver, 28. Seems like the promise. Baylor Shireman to the Jazz at 29. I like that. They went Topic earlier, so you can get a knockdown shooter and Baylor Shireman. And then Bakomi Nadiet going to the Celtics at number 30. Hate that. I mean, I guess they're not going to play too much next year, depending on the player and what they do this offseason with their bench, but so many better options on the board than Nadiet, honestly. All right, so we are here with Bleacher Report's full 2-round predictions with a week to go. And let's get into this, man. Let's just dive right in. So I wonder if there's going to be some similarities to the ESPN mock, so we don't really have to go through this one too in-depth, if so. But anything different, then I'll obviously hammer in the same points. Zachary Risache, number 1. Seems more than likely that this is going to happen. Number 2, we have Washington going outside. Oh, he also leaves the player comps as well, which is kind of cool. Harrison Barnes to Risache. Better defender, I think. Harrison Barnes was a solid defender coming out of UNC, though. So I guess I could see it. Honestly, not as like strong or physical than Barnes was probably. Barnes was a really good player. I mean, coming out of high school he was, but he just like didn't live up to the hype in both his years at UNC, which I kind of want to look up, honestly, now what his stats were at UNC, because it's been a minute. He did average 17 points in his sophomore year, shot 35 from 3, 46 from the field. So relatively what he's done kind of in the NBA level, honestly. So we got Alex Sargo, number 2 to Washington. Like I said in ESPN ones or any ones throughout this that have Sargo in number 2. I love that a ton, man. What can I say? Number 3, we got Reed Shepard to the Rockets. Pretty much been the top 3. And I could honestly see the Dante DiVincenzo comp, but I think better ball handling ability for sure. And someone that could actually play the point guard position. Stephon Castle going number 4 to the Spurs. All right, we have an identical top 4 with ESPN, and honestly, like I said, that would be my top 4 as well, with Buzelis at number 5, and then I think the draft really could start at number 6. Now, something could be a shocker there. I mean, a lot of people didn't expect Scotty Barnes to go to Toronto at number 4 back in 2021. A lot of people thought Jaden Ivey was kind of a lock to go to Sacramento for a little bit until the Keegan Murray hype came, and obviously 1 through 3, like with Jabari Smith and Paolo, was interchangeable going up to the draft. And last year, 23, I mean, there was the Scoot and Brandon Miller debate, but I think this year, I would be shocked if somebody maybe jumped into the top 5 now. I mean, we're seeing plenty of mocks. We're getting the intel, or at least hearing the rumors on Twitter and stuff. I feel like it's going to be that 1 through 5. Number 6, we got Donovan Clingan going to Charlotte. So I've talked about that too. Mark Williams has struggled to stay healthy in his first 2 years in the NBA. So you could get the most NBA-ready big man on the board in Donovan Clingan, and probably the most NBA-ready player on the board, or one of them in Donovan Clingan, who can help be your rim protector. Now you have 2 really good big men. I also like Nick Richards, so you kind of have 3 good big men, which could be a luxury. And then you could see if a team wants Mark Williams as well. Like you could see Memphis. Would you give up number 9? I'm just saying for Mark Williams, like, I don't know if I would do that specifically, but I think Charlotte could have a good problem to have, and maybe you can run some big man lineups of Clingan and Mark Williams and just see if it works out. I know there's limitations offensively, but hey, you surround them with Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, and a really good shooter. Like, could work in a pinch. Like, it definitely could. If you're going up against teams like Minnesota or maybe potentially like the Pelicans next year, where they are going to have multiple good big men out there. So I don't hate it, honestly. I don't. Cody Williams to Portland at 7. I think could fit there. They got to trim this roster for sure. There's not enough minutes to play Scoot, Sharp, Simons, Grant, Brogdon, Aiden, Time Lord, Cody Williams now, whoever they take at 14. Then you add in like Dwap Reith. You add in Chris Murray, a first-round pick last year. Ryan Rupert might get more minutes this year. Matisse Thybulle, Tamani Kamara, Jabari Walker. There's too many guys that are going to need minutes. So we got to see them trim this roster this offseason. Devin Carter, the Spurs at 8. So they end up with Stephon Castle and Devin Carter. I mean, that is just elite defense on the perimeter and definitely could be what they're going for. Because we're like, they need a point guard. They need a point guard. And yes, they do. But Castle could be good enough, even if he's not like an elite playmaker, because you have Wemby, who's going to orchestrate so much on that offensive end of the floor. Number 9, we got Memphis getting Ron Holland. I'm a big fan of that fit for him. I do. I think it's a winning environment. He's got a high motor. He wants to win. I'm sure Ja wants to win next year. Same with Triple J and Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart and those veterans in the room. Like, Marcus Smart may have a chip on his shoulder. He just watched his former team, the Boston Celtics, finally get it done after trading him away. So he's probably going to want to win next year. And I think that could be a good fit for Ron Holland for sure. So I kind of like glossed over some of these player comps, like Roy Hibbert to Donovan Clingan. Buzelis is Lamar Odom. I don't hate that. Anthony Black to Stephon Castle. Yeah, I see that a ton as well. Cody Williams was Jaden McDaniels, and Devin Carter was Derek White. Ron Holland is Cam Whitmore. We have Utah Jazz taking Dalton Connect at number 10. We've seen this happen before. I just don't know if... I don't know. I guess they could. Like, him and Keontae George as your backcourt. I feel like that has limits to it, you know. Number 11, Chicago going Rob Dillingham. I don't like this. Before Giddey trade, after Giddey trade, we don't need another smaller guard in that room that has, I think, not as much upside as you would think passing the ball. But obviously he's a score-first guy, microwave, score can heat up at any moment. You just have that in Kobe White. You kind of have that in Ida Sudmu. I just don't know doing that again in Rob Dillingham is worth it, and it's a little repetitive. But hey, Rob Dillingham's my 6th ranked prospect or 7th ranked, and you're getting him at 11. That's good value. We got Tijon Savant going to the Thunder at 12. We saw this in the ESPN one, which I feel like it could happen as well. Dillingham's comp was Lou Will. Dalton Connect was Wally Szczerbiak, and Salon's is Obi Toppin. So 13, Sacramento going Khalil Ware. I like this. I think Khalil Ware could maybe space the floor as your 5, and him and Sabonis could legitimately be successful together, I think. And you're going to replicate a little bit of what Sabonis was in Indiana. And obviously, he never reached his peak playing next to Miles Turner. But I think now with this version of Sabonis and how he's a smarter, overall better big man, you can now make it work with him and Khalil Ware. And I think with them bringing back Malik Monk, they don't need to go a guard. They don't need a Jared McCain. Like, you have Keon Ellis and Davion Mitchell. You don't need Isaiah Collier, who's ever on the board here specifically for them. And you can go a big man in Khalil Ware, so we don't have to watch Alex Len or Trey Lyles or some of these big men next year. Or like, I'm fine with Trey Lyles, but just maybe even a more diminished role makes me like Trey Lyles a little bit more than you're relying like a lot on Trey Lyles. 14, you got Portland taking Tristan DeSilva. They go a little bit older on this side with Cody Williams at 7 and DeSilva at 14. Hey, get both the Colorado guys. I mocked that, I think, in the Mojo mock. Miami going to Nikola Topic at 15. I mean, he falls here to 15. That is fantastic value. If there's a chance, like, they have Topic on the board, McCain, Collier, they're going to get some great fits, and he could definitely lead that post-Jimmy era as the point guard. Number 16, we got Philly going Jacoby Walter. Athleticism play here. I think could be a good shooter in year number 1. Going to be, I think, inefficient at attacking the rim, but that will come, and he has top 5 player in this class potential. And he, like, if you watch any of my mocks from like before March Madness or after the trade deadline, he was going top 10. He was my 2nd ranked college player for a little bit after Cody Williams. And if you look at any mocks, like, that was the case. So they're getting good value at 16. 17, we got the LA Lakers getting Zach Edey. Yeah, could this happen? I don't know. I think Holmes could be a better fit. I think Tyler Smith, but I just don't know where Edey's best fit is. And maybe Washington if they don't get Sarr. Maybe Toronto. I don't know if it's New Orleans, honestly. And if Orlando gets Jared McCain, I mean, that is a perfect pick for them. I don't know if McCain goes that low, right? Like, that seems low, falling to 18. I feel like they would have to trade up to get him. And also some of the player comps, Emmanuel Quickly for McCain, Valanciunas for Edey. Okay. And we got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for Jacoby Walter. There's been rumors they want to go out and get him. Gore Dragic for Topic, and then Trey Lyles for Tristan DeSilva. Brook Lopez for Khalil Ware. Sorry, I kind of skipped over these. And then number 19, we do have Keyshawn George going to the Toronto Raptors. We did see this in the ESPN one as well. Same with Bub Carrington, 20 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Same with Misi, 21 to the Pelicans, and then 22. we do have the Suns going Isaiah Collier. So I love that for them. And if Matt Ishbia trades out of this pick with Isaiah Collier on the board, what are you doing, man? Like, Collier could be so good offensively, and I think could hold his own defensively as well next to Devin Booker and Bradley Beal out there. I mean, I guess you run into some limitations with that, with Beal, with Collier, with Booker defensively, because Beal and Booker aren't great. I think Booker could still be a solid defender. I don't know if we're going to ever see Beal be a good defender again, but I think Collier can make it work, and you're getting a top 10 player in this class, in my opinion, at number 22. The EMC comp is Nick Claxton, Nickeil Alexander-Walker for Bub Carrington. Hate that. What? I don't see that at all. Delano Banton for Keyshawn George. I could see that, but a better shooter for sure. You know, Banton did play well at the end of last year's season. And Collier is Tyreek Evans. Jalen Tyson going to the Bucks at 23. I mean, they need to get more athletic. They need to get younger in this offseason, and Tyson could be that guy. Loves contact, loves getting to the rim, and could help the Bucks try to win a championship next year. Caleb Martin is the comp. Knicks getting Ryan Dunn at 24. We've seen this a ton with T. Stiebel the comp, and I like Deron Holmes more than I like Filipowski in this draft, so I am all for this. He's using the Trace Jackson Davis comp. Wizards going Terrence Shannon at 26. I don't really love them adding a wing. I mean, if they don't get Reese Shea at 2, yeah, they could go wing at 26. But I'd go with somebody a little bit more upside, like a Pacome Dadiet, instead of like maybe Terrence Shannon or Bobby Clipman at 26. Johnny Fairfield, Minnesota, 27. They could use some shooting off the bench, so I'm a big fan of that. Cam Johnson's his comp. Kelly Oubre for Terrence Shannon Jr. And then at 28, Kyle Filipowski. I do feel like this could be Deron Holmes. We'll see if that's where the promise was. Mo Wagner's his comp. Pacome Dadiet to the Jazz at 29. So they go ready right now and connect to 10 and Dadiet at 29. Wilson Chandler's the comp. I feel like he's a better shooter than Chandler, but not overall as athletic or as strong. And then Boston getting Tyler Kolek at 30. I don't get, like, I think Kolek should go in the first round, and maybe that's why he just has him go to Boston. But you have White, Holiday, Pritchard. I mean, I guess you're looking into the post-Holiday era. Maybe you can't afford Derek White. Maybe you move on from Pritchard. I don't know. But I don't know if there's a need for Kolek when you have Peyton Pritchard off the bench. And sorry for not going like too in detail in this Bleacher Report one. I'm not feeling great right now, so I'm just gonna have to cut this one short. All right, so we're here on CBS Sports. This one's gonna be a little bit different, which I wanted to shake things up, and we are going to react to a video mock draft, something that is on their YouTube channel that was on the CBS, I guess, TV channel when it came out. So we're gonna react to their mock draft here and see if it's different than the other ones we have reacted to.
Spot a lot going to Washington. We have the maker of the mock, Kyle Boone, with us, and then we also have Mike O'Donnell joining us in studio to kind of discuss. And we're starting at the top. Also, Kyle Boone teased that this mock has a lot of drama.
Also, shout out to Bryson DeChambeau, who ended up winning the U.S. Open.
Drama, and we're going to get to that drama at the end. But let's start at the top, Kyle Boone. Reese Shea, number 1. Why are you putting him here number 1 instead of Alex Zar? Explain the switch for us here in this latest mock draft.
Yeah, I think right now, the last time I did a hit on my latest mock draft, it was that we're writing number 1 in pencil at this very moment. The Atlanta Hawks had a 3% chance of winning the number 1 pick, so I think they're playing some catch up. I don't even think they know exactly which direction they will go. Alex Sarr is a guy who I think can be a really good defensive anchor, but Reese Shea kind of fits the mold of where the NBA is going. He's 6'9", can put it on the floor.
All right, my bad. I didn't want to cover up too much of the screen.
He can score it. I think multi-positional defensive versatility brings to the table. He's a very good shooter. So, yeah, I think there's some optionality that he brings to the table that may be more appealing for the Atlanta Hawks than maybe what Alex Sarr would present to them at number 1.
Yeah, I think like, I don't know, like, I'm coming around on the idea of Reese Shea number 1. I wouldn't do this, but I think it's going to happen. Alex Sarr, moment I'm recording this, has yet to work out with the Atlanta Hawks, and his agent is the same agent as Luka Doncic, and people are connecting the two because Luka Doncic didn't want to work out, or his agent didn't want him to really work out with the Atlanta Hawks. I don't really know what all that's about, but that's kind of silly. Alex Sarr apparently also wants to play the power forward position. I don't know how true that is as well. And in Atlanta, that would be pretty tough. I mean, you could throw him out there with Clint Capella or Onyeka Okongwu, which could be kind of exciting, but there's going to be some limitations offensively. So I don't really know where he's going to end up. I feel like Alex Sarr is probably going to end up in Washington, and Reese Shea is going to go number 1 overall.
Reese Shea, he's a 6'8" hybrid forward out of France, and he's 19 years old. And Kyle talked a little bit about defensively. If you're drafting,
I think like this year, you're hoping Reese Shea is Bilal Coulibaly, basically. You're not getting a Wemby, you're not getting a Brandon Miller, you may not even get the potential of a Thompson twin, but you're hoping to get Bilal Coulibaly.
Shea, you are drafting him for his defensive ability. And we're going to show highlights of him on the offensive end. He averaged 10 points a game, a big positive at 6'8". He's over 38% from three. But every single scout that has scouted him in Europe, over in the combine, says the same thing. He might be the best off-ball defender in the draft. Very good physical tools, allows him to be a menace.
He's good. I don't know if I would say that. I still like Ryan Dunn and his IQ on that end of the floor. I could see him being better off ball than Ron Holland. I don't know about Stephon Castle, though.
Defensively, and so you're drafting him for the upside of saying, okay, he's 38% from three in Europe. Could he be at a minimum that level in the NBA, sitting in the corner below the break, knocking down corner threes, and then at 6'8", he has enough physical tools and athleticism to guard almost 1 through 4 position-wise. So that's why you're drafting him. Number one, defense. Number two, the potential offensively.
Another draft where we get a Frenchman at that number one spot, potentially. Either way you go. Let's jump over to that third spot, Kyle. Right now, you have Reed Sheppard going to the Rockets at that number 3 spot. Obviously, one of the best shooters, especially beyond the arc when it comes to Reed Sheppard's game. What do you like about?
I'm going to assume they have Alex Sarr going number 2. It would be kind of crazy if it's Klingon, though.
The fit there at number 3 to the Rockets.
Yeah, plug and play. That's what I like about Reed Sheppard. He shot 52.1% from three-point range as a true freshman at Kentucky last season. You go to Synergy data, he actually rated in the 100th percentile in catch-and-shoot situations. No one was better than him shooting the basketball, and a really historic season as a true freshman. I think that shot is obviously going to translate, but defensively, I know Mike probably loves this as well. I think he's a playmaker on defense. He has a really high IQ. It translates to steals at a really high level as a true freshman in the SEC. I think there's a really high floor for Reed Sheppard, and so, a draft that is pretty wide open in terms of how NBA teams view the top of this class. Reed Sheppard, I think, is someone who will be a very good NBA player for a very long time. I think that means a lot to a team like the Houston Rockets picking at number 3.
Yeah, for like the Rockets, I mean, that's what I would do if I stay at 3 for them. I mean, Alex Caruso, that idea is off the board since he did get traded to the OKC Thunder. I would take Sheppard at 3, and you can have a backcourt that you could develop in him and Amen Thompson. I don't know. Like, paying Jalen Green $9 million a year looks good now, but would you want to commit $30+ million a year to Jalen Green? I do not know. So I think going Reed Sheppard is pretty safe with the 3rd overall pick. He's my 3rd ranked prospect in this draft, with 1 being Sarr, 2 being Ron Holland. So I am a big fan of Reed Sheppard, and I am perfectly fine with that.
I don't really like agreeing with Kyle Boone so often, but that was like spot on analysis. And he's right defensively. Everybody's going to initially look at and say, 6'2" combo guard, is that big enough for the NBA at that kind of level? I'm going to say yes, because visibility on the defensive end from a stealing standpoint, off-ball defense. He is way stronger than people give him credit for. He is way more athletic than people give him credit for. And the Rockets need shooting, desperately need outside shooting. And Reed Sheppard is the best three-point shooter in the draft, period. He shot over 50% from 3, like Kyle said. That's something that no collegiate first-rounder has done since Michigan's Glenn Rice in 1989.
It is crazy. Like, let's not overthink this. This dude is a bucket. He is going to be the best shooter in this class. He's my number 1 shooter in this class, and I think he could be one of the league's best shooters in a few seasons.
Highest effective field goal percentage of any freshman in college basketball. And at his worst, he's the 3rd best defender in the draft, in my opinion. So you're getting the best shooter.
Wait, what? At worst, he's the 3rd best defender? I don't know if I agree with that. I'm going to let him finish his thought, but I could name like 7 guys I prefer defensively over Reed Sheppard.
In the draft, and you're getting at worst the 3rd best defender in the draft. This is a no-brainer for the Rockets. It's the perfect spot. I think Kyle is absolutely dead on correct.
I don't know if he meant to say that. Like, I don't think Reed Sheppard's actually a bad defender, and the knock on him will be his size, but he has the aggressiveness, the physicality, and the competitiveness, in my opinion, to be fine on that end of the floor. So I'm not worried about Sheppard's defense. I just don't think he's the 3rd best defender at the worst in this draft. Like, I do think Reese Shea has the intangibles to be better. Alex Sarr, obviously better. I mean, if we're looking at straight like non-bigs, Holland, Castle, Ryan Dunn, Keyshawn George, I think could have better defensive potential. So I think there's some other guys that I like a little bit more. Jacoby Walter as well.
Crazy when we think about him coming out of high school being like a top 80, top 100 player, and now we're talking about him going number 3 overall.
But his recruiting never really was in a lot of question, because you just assumed he was going to go to Kentucky because of his parents. So they never got the big buzz of, is he going to Kentucky? Where is he going to go? That's why he kind of fell under the radar recruiting-wise.
Okay, let's get to the Spurs, and we're talking about Wemby, last year's #1 overall pick, getting some guard help, Kyle Boone, from national champ Stephon Castle and Rob Dillingham.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stephon Castle and Rob Dillingham for the Spurs, who are picking at number 4
so
and
yeah, we
number
can
8.
see they went Reed Shepard, or excuse me, Alex Sarr 2, with Castle 4 and Dillingham 8. I'm very happy with the Spurs in that draft, because I think Dillingham doesn't need to be a true point guard on offense. He could be an off-ball player, but you can also space him out and have him come off the bench, and you could stagger the Castle minutes as well. And Castle, you're not getting the shooting or the shot-creating ability from Dillingham, but you're getting, hopefully, playmaking upside, but really just someone that's going to be able to finish at the rim and defend some teams' best guards on that end of the floor. Shout out to them having Ron Holland at 5. I mean, I doubt that happens. I've yet to see Holland go that high in any mocks, which is a shame, because I do believe he's a top player in this class, but I'm all for that. I mean, there are some question marks with him next to Asor Thompson, because neither of them are really going to be consistent three-point shooters next year, so I could see why that isn't appealing right now, but the defense is there, and this team also needs to get better defensively. And with Malik Monk off the market, they may want to get another shooter since they can't land him in free agency. Buzelis at 6, I like that upside actually for him in Charlotte, and I think they could be patient with him. Clingan at 7, I'm cool with that. Connect at 9. And Collier at 10, I'm fine with. I'm fine with Collier going at 10 instead of Nikola Topic, but I'm also all for Topic going at 10. It's just crazy. He probably won't be a top 10 pick anymore.
Stephon Castle, tremendous defensive prospect, questionable on offense. Maybe not a true point guard at the NBA level. Someone who I think really needs to improve his shot to be a more consistent threat. But Rob Dillingham, one of the most electric offensive weapons in this draft class. Some question marks on defense. So I think the pair together, Dillingham, great on offense, Castle, elite on defense, could really upgrade the Spurs backcourt, which I think is going to be a priority for them this offseason. They're trying to surround Victor Wembanyama with a ton of talent. I think Dillingham, with his offense, his playmaking, his scoring ability, kind of a microwave scorer, a spark plug off the bench, could be really impactful. And then Stephon Castle, I think, has the highest potential ceiling of anyone in this draft class. And I think there's a chance that he should be in the mix at number 1 as well. So getting him at number 4, I think, for the Spurs, and then coming back with Dillingham at number 8 makes a lot of sense.
I think it's a huge win if the Spurs get Castle at 4. I really do. But Kyle said it. Everything hinges upon.
And I feel like he's going to be there unless it's a little shocking and he goes 3. I doubt he goes 2. So I think there's a really good chance Castle is there at 4.
His outside shooting, if that improves at all, I'm not talking 25, 30%. If that improves 10%, Castle has all the tools to be an all-star in the NBA one day. He's that good defensively. He has those kind of intangibles. And if you speak to any college coach and then NBA coach who has scouted Castle, they're going to say the same thing. Pro approach, mature demeanor, toughness, intangibles. He has all the skill sets to be a true lead guard in the NBA for a very long time. You pair him with Wembanyama, he's going to have to be great in the pick and roll. And why Kyle also adds Rob Dillingham into that mix from a drafting perspective for the Spurs is you got to think about spacing and the fact that Castle, not a great three-point shooter, that comes with time. Dillingham was the microwave of the SEC. Outside of Dalton Kennett in college basketball, nobody got hotter quicker than Rob Dillingham. And also, I've watched enough film on the lead guards. Dillingham is the best ball handler in the draft, period. We just talked about Reed Shepard, best shooter in the draft. Dillingham, the best ball handler in the draft.
Kentucky couldn't make it out of the round of 64.
In transition between him and Wembanyama, that's a dangerous combo from San Antonio.
Yeah, some much needed help for a San Antonio team that's been waiting to get back to the top of the NBA as we were so used to seeing them. Castle, of course, won a national championship. Kyle, they beat out the topic of our next conversation here. That, of course, is Zach Edey, who spent the last couple of seasons playing with Purdue. We know the caliber of player that he can be, kind of that old school style.
All right, so I'll just kind of run through these since they didn't touch on the other picks there. So, Topic at 11, I mean, this came out before the Josh Giddey trade, so I don't think you need another ball handler, but I also think the value value is there in Nikola Topic, someone that may not play much in his rookie season, but I think could be a top 5 player in this class. I believe he's my 5th ranked prospect, 6th ranked prospect. He's right around that range, and I think if the shot comes, which I do believe it will, because he was a good shooter at times for Red Star last year, and he's a good free throw shooter. He can attack the rim, good court vision. I'm excited to see him in the NBA level, because he could flame out, and he could just be not a good player whatsoever, or he could be the best player in this draft, and I'm really excited to see how Topic acclimates to the NBA style of play. I'm not a fan of Filipowski at 12. I mean, I have no idea what they're doing with their cap space in free agency, but I think I would rather target Kalel Werther. I'd rather target Deron Holmes over Filipowski. I'd rather target Yves Missi, Tyler Smith. You guys know my stance on that. T-John Salon to the Kings at 13 since they brought back Malik Monk. Let's go, Kings fans. I thought you guys were going to lose him, get priced out, but he, I think, took a little bit of a discount to stay in Sacramento. 2 thumbs up. Let's go. That is huge stuff for them. And I'm down to target a wing here. I think the Bulls could look at Salon at 11, but I'm cool to look at T-John Salon, Cody Williams, Jacoby Walter at 13 because Barnes has a ceiling on what he could be. Kevin Huerter had a down year last year. They need, I think, another big or a wing. De Silva as well. Cody Williams at 14. I like that. Go upside. Klingon and Cody Williams in this draft. Really good defensive versatility between both of them right away. 15, Jared McCain going to the Miami Heat. I mean, hell yeah. Devin Carter's still on the board, so I don't know if they would choose McCain over Carter, but they're getting one of the best shooters in this class. Pretty much my top 5 shooters. Like 1, it's Reed Shepherd. 2, it's Rob Dillingham. 3, it's Jared McCain. 4, it's Dalton Connect. 5, it's Johnny Furphy. So I like that for the Heat. I mean, Devin Carter at 16 is criminal. I want my Knicks to move 24 and 25 to move up, if that's going to be the case. They need Devin Carter. Tyler Kolek going 17. That is the highest I've seen him in a mock in a little bit. And I think New Orleans needs a point guard, but I'd rather go with the higher upside play in Bub Carrington than Tyler Kolek, because you can maybe even trade up for Tyler Kolek or make a deal for that if you really wanted him as well. Jacoby Walter, Magic at 18, can hit some threes, can defend like that. Probably going to be better in year 2. I don't think he's going to really do much in year 1 if it's a situation like Orlando. Zach Edey 19, I mean, why not? I just think I would take Kalel Ware. I would take Deron Holmes. I would take Yves Missi for Toronto there, but you know what? I want to see a place where Edey can actually play a ton, and that's like a Toronto. That would be maybe New Orleans. That would also be a Washington as well, so I would like to see him maybe end up in one of those situations. And then you got Johnny Furphy at 20. With a lot of guys still on the board, I don't really love that. I mean, he's a good shooter right away, but you have solid shooters, right? Like you do have Max Strus. I mean, you can get what you can out of Sam Morril and Dean Wade. I don't really think there's a need for Furphy. I think you could upgrade the Tristan Thompson backup big man spot. Those 3 bigs still on the board in Missi, Holmes, and Ware. You also have Tyler Smith. You could even look at Bub Carrington as well if you're still testing the trade market for Darius Garland. And I like Tristan De Silva or Kevin McCullough as wing options for Cleveland, who are trying to win it all next year. I don't know if Furphy's going to really help you too much in the playoffs. So just wanted to run through those picks in case they didn't touch up on them. Let's hear what they have to say about some of these non-top 10 picks.
Of basketball for him. And in your latest mock draft, I'm sure he would enjoy seeing this. You have him going home to Toronto. Tell us a little bit more about that and that fit.
Yeah, I'm going to need actually maybe the NBA Jam music here because I'm 3 for 3. I'm heating up. Mike has agreed with me on every point so far. Zach Edey, number 19 to the Toronto Raptors. I think it makes a lot of sense. The Raptors really love size. Edey is from Toronto. He's dominated college basketball the last 2 seasons, was player of the year. The year prior was player of the year this past season. Led college basketball in points per game this past season. Led college basketball in player efficiency rating. Just a dominant big man. And, you know, I think there's some questions. Obviously, he's more of a throwback big man. He doesn't have a 3-point shot at this very moment. But, you know, seeing him at the NBA draft combine, I think there's some optimism within NBA circles that he's going to be able to add some floor spacing to his game at some point. And when you add that, you could potentially add that on top of his dominant interior game, both on offense and on defense. I think there's a real value to be had. And Zach Edey, I think falling to number 19, we could look back in a few years and think, how did the 2-time player of the year, the best player in college basketball, slip all the way to number 19?
Yeah, I'll half disagree with Kyle Boone's pick, so I don't want to give him all the credit in the world. He's right. If Zach Edey falls to 19 to Toronto, it's a huge steal. It's a big win. I think Zach Edey should go before pick 19, but it would be such a great story and a homecoming story if he does fall to Toronto at 19 for all the reasons that Kyle said, but also You know I don't like hot taking too much. I think everybody's nuts. I think Zach Edey's going to be really good in the league for two reasons in particular. I think he has one of the most underrated IQs in college basketball we've seen for the last 2 years, which has enabled him to be more than just a dominant 7-foot center. His IQ passing out of the post, understanding angles defensively and offensively has drastically improved over the course of his career at Purdue, and he is way more mobile than the obvious comparison that he's going to get from Yao Ming.
Yeah.
Laterally, he is much better than Yao Ming was, and also his conditioning was incredible. Never gets talked about. Would play 38 minutes a game without blinking an eye at that size is almost unheard of. Yao Ming couldn't do it. That's why I think Zach Edey has the potential enough to be a better version of Yao Ming in the NBA. The game's different when Yao played, but I think he can be even better than Yao Ming.
You're not alone. Our colleague Chris Walker is really high on Zach Edey as well. We're going to talk about another interesting storyline here with Bronny James going to the Miami Heat in the second round. And Kyle, was the thought process here maybe like this is somewhere where LeBron could potentially go for the latter half of his career? Is that why we're pairing Bronny with Miami?
No, it's not LeBron related. It's not Pat Riley being vindictive relating. It's Bronny James is a legitimate NBA prospect. I think he should be
43
drafted.
is kind of high if you're not doing it for the LeBron purpose.
Somewhere in the second round. The Miami Heat pick at 43, and I think Bronny James, just given the fact that the Heat have such a great developmental
I hate to be this guy, but like Bronny James would never go this high if his name wasn't Bronny James, right? Like he's going to go, I think, to the Lakers at 55. I think that's where he's going to end up. I don't think he's good enough. I worry about, like, he's a solid defender, but I worry about how he's going to be at the NBA level. I don't think he's going to be much offensively, and it's going to take some time, which you could see in someone going in the 50s or an undrafted guy. The only reason I think he's going 43 is because of his name is Bronny James. But once again, like, it's unfair to him because he's a good player, and he's like a million times better as a basketball player than I am and that I will ever be. And he's going to live the dream of hopefully playing in the NBA one day. I just think 43 is high for Miami. And it's kind of unfair to some of the other guys that could be there at 43. What if Terrence Shannon is on the board at 43? What if AJ Mitchell is on the board? I would just rather take a chance on those guys for Bronny, especially for a team trying to win a championship next year.
Program historically, they have probably some confidence that, hey, we could get Bronny James in here. We could develop him into a real NBA potential role player, a contributor at some level.
But hey, I guess if Bronny is at his peak, the same as AJ Mitchell, he's selling a lot more jerseys and tickets, right?
Obviously, the storylines would be fantastic because, LeBron James won a couple titles with the Miami Heat, but I think Bronny landing in Miami would actually make a lot of sense as well.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Kyle Boone is the Joker from the Dark Knight. He is an agent of chaos. All he wants is Bronny getting drafted to the Miami Heat so the Miami Heat can bring LeBron back. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. You're not taking him over Jamal Shed. You're not taking him over KJ Simpson. There you go. I am fake disagreeing with Kyle Boone just for levity's sake.
Yeah, I do agree with Mike here. Like, you could take someone like Jamal Sheed, who's one of the better guard defenders in this draft, that could actually help the Miami Heat next year. So, yeah, that pretty much wraps up their mock draft. I mean, it wasn't a terrible one by any means. I actually thought, I like the video versions, and shout out to CBS Sports being one of the few outlets that have these on YouTube. ESPN's mock drafts, or basically when they're talking about the draft on ESPN right now, is all basically Bronny James talk. I don't know if we're going to get a bunch of trades or a bunch of rumors leading up to it, but apparently, Jonathan Givony of ESPN said that the Atlanta Hawks have yet to get a workout with Alex Sarr. Now, I don't know if there's a travel restriction. I don't know if it's a logistical issue. What is going on with that? But yeah, they haven't had a private workout with someone they're going to invest $8 to $10 million a year to and announce with the #1 overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. That is a big red flag. We are a week away. That is not good. I'm sure their analytics, their scouts, their just kind of video teams are diving in nonstop on his film. But you'd like to meet the guy you're going to invest a lot of money into and hopefully can help change the course of the direction of your franchise and maybe lead you to a championship one day. So that's why a lot of people think Zachary Sachet may go #1. There's been talks about Donovan Clingan. We'll see who Kristen has here. But that is definitely something to keep note of. Now, she has Zachary Sachet with the #1 overall pick in this mock draft. I have mocked that before. Now, I don't have Reese Shea as my #1 guy. It's Alex Sarr. But right now, if I did a mock today, on June 19, 2024, I would mock Reese Ashe as well. I don't think that's what she's saying she would do. That's not what a lot of people are saying they would do. But right now, like, that is kind of the intel that the Hawks would do number 1 overall. If you're a Hawks fan and you like Sarr, you'd like to think that they're going to take the 7-1 center that could be an elite defender right away. That could be a nice pick and roll partner to both DeJounte Murray and Trae Young for the next 5+ years. But if they don't even have an interview, like, what are they doing, or a workout? I don't think that's enough to make me think that they're going to draft Sarr right now. So a mock draft today, I agree with her. Like, Reese Ashe is number 1. Once again, that's not maybe what she would do. That's not what I would do. But I think if it comes down to it, I mean, I would take Sarr. I would 100% take Sarr, or I would trade down and move on maybe from Murray in a different deal and take Reed Shepherd. I just don't think it's worth it taking Reese Ashe 1. I'd rather just trade down to 3 or 4 and get a Stephon Castle or a Klingon or whoever falls between Reese Ashe or Sarr. So I'm not a fan of Atlanta going that selection. Now, if they moved on from Bogdan Bogdanovic this offseason, they let Sadiq Bey walk. I don't know if Reese Ashe has a great fit with Jalen Johnson unless you view that as your forward duo long term. Then you got DeAndre Hunter into the mix, AJ Griffin. There's a logjam in kind of the forward spots in Atlanta. And then I guess you run back Clint Capella and Yucca Okongwu. I would move Capella. A lot of decisions for Atlanta to make this offseason. And they got to kind of hurry up on them, right? So number 2, she's got Washington going Alex Sarr. If Alex Sarr is not the number 1 overall pick, he better be the number 2 overall pick. I'm still Sarr over Klingon. He's my top guy in this class. And man, oh man, I would love the Wizards' outlook with Sarr. Now, for Sarr specifically, yes, I'd rather him go to Atlanta. He gets to play with Trae Young. You know how much better that's going to make Sarr right away? A lot. Then going to Washington and either Tyus Jones or Jordan Poole is your point guard next year. I mean, Tyus Jones, I'm okay with. Jordan Poole, not as much. And now Washington could add a point guard. They could maybe trade up and they can get Topic, or they can add somebody else in free agency or trades this offseason, maybe to Josh Giddey. And I feel different about it. But right now with the point guards on roster, that doesn't include Tyus Jones, makes me a little scared for what Alex Sarr is going to be. But hey, that's a great grade for me if that ends up happening. And I don't know if it's going to be another Scoot Brandon Miller situation, because I was like, man, just take Scoot. But I saw the positional restrictions. Obviously, like, that was the appeal in Brandon Miller for Charlotte. I think it's a little different with Sarr and Reese Ashe, because I don't think Onyeka Okongwu should be holding you back from taking Alex Sarr right now. So Reese Ashe 1, Alex Sarr 2, Donovan Klingon 3. I would personally mock Reed Shepherd. Now, intel purposes, Klingon could be the guy for sure. They may like Klingon a lot, can give them a bruiser, rim protector, pretty high floor player at number 3. I would take Reed Shepherd if I were Houston, because I think that gives you a little bit more versatility. You invested the 3rd overall pick in Jabari Smith Jr. Alperen Sengun is probably the best player on your roster right now. Where is Klingon going to play in the next 5 years? Do you think Sengun could move down to the 4, Jabari Smith to the 3? And then you also have Amen Thompson and Jalen Green for now, and Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore. I don't know where Klingon really fits in. That's why I've had trouble mocking Klingon to the Rockets. I have never done that yet. And I don't think I'm going to do that unless there's intel that comes out that Houston loves Donovan Klingon. And I won't continue to mock him until that comes out. Now, I think Houston should definitely entertain trading down if Memphis is willing to give you a 1st-round pick and a player, in addition to 9, I would do that. I think Houston can get a great rotational piece at number 9. That could be Isaiah Collier. That could be Ron Holland. Rob Dillingham is apparently falling in mocks. That could be Devin Carter if he falls. There's a lot of good options at 9, and I would even think about with Chicago at 11, if they're willing to give you an Ayo Dosunmu or an Alex Caruso, and maybe you can get a couple seconds in the future, maybe that Portland first that they own in the long term, that protected Portland pick. Get that, or trade down with Portland, right? If I could trade down and get additional first, I would do that, because I don't think Klingon is really a game changer for Houston. And you have Steven Adams under contract and Jock Lawndale. Just interesting. I don't know. It's the 3rd overall pick. I'd like to draft somebody that's going to play more than 16 minutes a night, right? So for San Antonio, getting Stephon Castle, I love that for them. I think, though, now it's a real debate for myself, because Shepherd is my number 3 prospect in this draft. Castle, I believe, is my 5th ranked prospect in this draft. I actually have it up right here. Castle's my 5th ranked prospect. Just wanted to double check that. I would go, like, this would be a tough debate if both of them are on the board, because I would love Castle and Shepherd in San Antonio, because Shepherd can really just be an elite floor spacer and playmaker for this team, and I would just love him with Wemby. But then Castle gives you the modern day point guard size at 6'6". Great frame right now, 215 pounds. He is one of the best defenders in this class. Can facilitate a little bit. I still view him as a wing in this process, but if he can transition to guard, hey, it's not impossible. There's 2 great options for San Antonio at 4. You can't go wrong. And then you have pick it like at number 8. Like, I would love the way that this draft has fallen for San Antonio. Stephon Castle at 4, I'm a huge fan of. Detroit getting Buzelis at number 5. I don't know if the firing of Monty Williams is going to change this. They brought in Chandra Langdon. They let Troy Weaver let him leave. And I forget the name. I should have looked it up. But the CEO, like the business side of things, his son for the Pistons is Buzelis' agent, so there's a lot of connections. I mean, there's appeal to Buzelis at 5 because of his upside. There's appeal for Cody Williams at number 5 because of his upside. She mentioned Tijan Salon. Oh my God, that would get maybe an initial D grade for me if that ended up happening. I think the way that this draft has fallen, I'm taking Reed Sheppard, 100%. You're getting an elite shooter who could play alongside Cade Cunningham. Yeah, there's some defensive issues, but you can have Reed Sheppard guard 1s. Cade's got the size and the frame to guard 2. So I would go Reed Sheppard if he's on the board at 5, and I would immediately call New Orleans. Are you interested in Jaden Ivey? I will trade you Jaden Ivey and stuff for Brandon Ingram. Or I'd call up Utah. Are you interested in Jaden Ivey? I would even call up, I don't know if I would call up Chicago, Jaden Ivey for Zach LaVine, but I would see and test the market for Ivey because I like Sheppard as a prospect more than I liked Ivey coming out of Purdue. And I liked Ivey a ton coming out of Purdue. I liked him more than Paolo Banchero. And yes, my evaluation of Paolo was really bad, and I think I've gotten better with it. But either way, I mean, Paolo's my 4th ranked player in a pretty good class. Either way, I think Reed Sheppard, oh my God, would actually be really good in Detroit. And I would, like I said, call the lines. If Sheppard is off the board, instead of taking Buzelis at 5, I'd rather them just trade down to like 7 or 8 or 9. And if Donaldson Connect and you have a good feeling he's going to be there, I'm taking Connect. So number 6, Reed Sheppard to Charlotte. If he does fall to Charlotte, which I think would be kind of like crazy if he does, I love this for them because Sheppard, beautiful guy to play at the 2. I don't think Nick Smith is ready. They moved on from Rozier. Trey Mann, good and all, but hey, maybe he's more of a bench kind of microwave guy for you off the bench. Sheppard is someone that could be an elite shooter for you right away. Now you have 3 elite shooters. I think Miller's going to be an elite shooter. So you have LaMelo at the 1, Sheppard at the 2, Miller at the 3. You have Mark Williams at the 5. We'll see what they do with Miles Bridges or if they add in a 4. But Sheppard can also play backup point guard. He can also slide in at the 1 if LaMelo Ball is injured. So I think Sheppard gives you great insurance, and LaMelo, in my opinion, could be a really good defender if he locks in. So I think you're fine, and you can hide Sheppard's defensive deficiencies. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. And you'll be fine going forward. So I love that. If he falls to 6, God, I love the new direction Charlotte's getting. Charles Lee, new front office, new ownership, Reed Sheppard. Yeah, I'm a big Hornets fan, and I would actually want to go see a game in Charlotte for once. Number 7, we got Cody Williams to Portland. The way that this draft is falling, I mean, I would prefer Ron Holland because of his defensive upside. I think he's still better than Cody Williams. I think he's more athletic. I think he's more aggressive. And some of those things you can teach, and some of them you can't. And I think Cody Williams has a little bit of a project play to him, but I think that's fine. And I think Portland is a good scenario for him. There's some fits I don't really love Cody Williams going to, but Portland is one I'm okay with, and I think he could have some similar traits to Jeremy Grant when he came out of Syracuse, and he can learn from him as well, and I actually don't hate that. Cody Williams is just outside my top 10, so if he goes at 7, it's not the craziest thing. I'm cool with him going to a Portland environment. Tijan Salon at number 8 to San Antonio. This is, I mean, it could definitely happen, right? This is just a mock. I mean, if the way that this draft is falling, and I can get Dillingham and Sheppard, I'd be kind of excited about that. I prefer Ron Holland, because I think we need like perimeter defenders here in San Antonio, and Sohan is fine. Keldon Johnson's not great. Branham's definitely not good defender right now. Vassell has his potential still. I think we can get Ron Holland in the room, man. Can guard a team's best defender, I think, right away. He's the most athletic player in this draft. I think he could have Amen Thompson, Sword Thompson, level defense in his rookie year, but mocks don't see that. Teams apparently don't see that. Maybe my evaluation is wrong. I know there's offensive limitations. Salon may be ready in 2025. He may not be ready to be a real contributor till 2027. So I think for San Antonio, you're playing with house money. This is the Jakob Poeltl pick. I'd be excited about Salon, though, because of the unknown with him. Number 9, we got Memphis going, Dalton Connect. Big fan of this. I mean, let's get Connect in the playoffs next year. Whoever Memphis is taking a 9 is most likely going to play some important minutes in the playoffs, and either that's Devin Carter, either that's Dalton Connect. I am like 2 thumbs up for me. I am a huge fan of that. And I think Connect at Memphis is a great fit. He could be a scorer off the bench. He could be that small forward that they need in between Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane, or he could be the stretch 4 for you. He could play the 2. There's a lot of positions that you can use Connect in Memphis, so I'm a fan of that. But interesting, she has Devin Carter at 10 at Utah. And Devin Carter is a borderline top 10 player for me in this draft. There's been talks that he can go 8 to San Antonio. He can go 9 to Memphis. 10 to Utah. I don't love that the way that this draft is fallen, and you're going Devin Carter. Because I want to see Devin Carter play in the playoffs next year. Like, I would like to see him go to a Sacramento, or even if it's like on the stage with Wemby, I'm cool with, or I'd like to obviously see him go to Memphis. Utah, I don't really see the appeal in going Devin Carter. Now, every team needs guys like Devin Carter, and maybe this is the draft where you just say, you know what, we're going to pass up on potential. We're going to go with the known guy in Devin Carter, the defense, the shooting, the hustle, the motor. But with Rob Dillingham and Nikola Topic and Isaiah Collier still on the board in this mock, disagree with Devin Carter's fit in Utah. 11, Chicago, going Kel'el Ware. I'm a fan of this. I like them going big at 11. I'm a big fan of Tyler Smith, so I could see the appeal there. Would I rather have Alex Caruso and Kel'el Ware, or number 3, which is Donovan Clingan? Probably 3 and Clingan. But Ware, I think, is probably the best pick for Chicago to go here. I think you can really run some Vucevic and Kel'el Ware big man lineups for sure. And that could be a little versatile if Ware's shot is consistent at the NBA level, and he's going to play with some good guards. So I like them at 11 going a Kel'el Ware. I think Holmes, I could see the appeal in. Edie, I don't know. I would like Tyler Smith, but I am definitely okay with Kel'el Ware. 12, OKC going Jacoby Walter. I don't think I've seen that in a mock yet. So they go Jacoby Walter here out of Baylor. And Walter, high upside, boomer bust prospect, can space the floor, can shoot, can defend. I think issues attack. I don't think he's like not aggressive. I just think there's some finishing issues that he's going to have to work on and develop. And I think OKC, if they're at 12, I mean, I would just take Rob Dillingham here, right? I would just take Rob Dillingham. I would take Nikola Topic. I would take Jared McCain. I think before I would take Jacoby Walter for them. Number 13, Bob Carrington, 13 to the Sacramento Kings. Whoa, all right. I've not seen him mocked in the lottery. 1. 2, I've not seen him mocked ahead of Rob Dillingham, ahead of Nikola Topic, ahead of Isaiah Collier, ahead of Jared McCain. I mean, I love Bob Carrington more than the next person, but I don't know if I like him more than those 4 guys that I talked about. So I think they could go guard. I mean, they're going to move. I think lose Malik Monk in free agency. They can only offer him like 18 mils, the max amount. In a team like Orlando or Detroit is going to throw a bag at Malik Monk. Trust me, they will. So I don't think that they're going to be able to keep Monk. Does that mean they go guard? No, it doesn't. They could go to Silva. They can go big. This team needs to add some big man help. They could go Edie at 13 for all we know. I like Carrington to Sacramento. I just wonder, can you trade down? I proposed this on the last episode of the pod where I traded every first-round pick. Move from 13 to 19. Could you maybe get Bruce Brown? I don't know if they could pick up the team option or if they can like do a handshake agreement on that. But do 13 and Sasha Vezenkov. They go to Toronto, and you get 19 and Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown can kind of help the absence of Malik Monk, and you can get 19 still, where you can get a good rotational piece. And the way that like her mock is fallen, there could be somebody that is valuable there. That could be Tristan De Silva. That could be Tyler Smith. That could be a Zach Edey. Somebody like that. Like she has Keyshawn George 14 to the Blazers. Once again, this is a mock. I'm going to believe this is not her big board, but sheesh, I do not agree with that. I think Keyshawn George has some upside. I think Portland could trade up from the second round into the late first to get him, or I think they could trade down from 14. I just think at 14 over guys that I talked about. I know Portland doesn't need a guard, but man, oh man, if a Keyshawn George goes ahead of Nikola Topic, Dillingham, even Jared McCain, I would be very shocked. Isaiah Collier, I think we're overthinking Collier a little bit. But I agree with Portland, like they're a team that doesn't need to take a true ball handler, so I see that. And they took a little bit of a riskier pick she had who was it again? Oh, Cody Williams. So wait, does she have? Oh my God, I haven't even talked about Ron Holland. Oh my God, Ron Holland is on the board. Oh my God, Ron Holland falls outside the lottery. Ron Holland, Nikola Topic, Rob Dillingham, all outside the lottery. It's crazy how much the draft cycle with like mocks kind of change up. So post-lottery, here we are. We're going to have some amazing fits, right? Jared McCain going to the Miami Heat at 15. I mean, yeah, that's a sharpshooter. I love the Emmanuel Quickly comp. I actually, like, sometimes I'll see comps and I'll be like, yeah, I can gravitate towards that. Like, Quickly just popped in my mind when I was watching McCain's, like, film this year, and I love that comp, and I think he has true tendencies of Quickly, and him going to Miami at 15 is great value, and I think there's a good chance he's going to be there at 15. For sure. If like Tijon Salon goes in the lottery, Cody Williams and Devin Carter and Kel'el Ware, like then there's a good chance that McCain will be there at 15. I mean, I don't know if Bob Carrington and Keyshawn George both go in the lottery though. So Philly at 16 getting Rob Dillingham. What are we? Oh my God, man! If they end up with Rob Dillingham, I will be pissed because that is going to be such a good pick for them. I mean, if there's a chance where Philly could be like, you know, we could take Topic, we could take Dillingham, we could take Ron Holland, or we could take Isaiah Collier, I'll just be like, what the hell happened in the lottery, man? Did these GMs fall asleep? I mean, Rob Dillingham at 16 is immense value, and I know it's a weird fit with Maxey, but even if he's just a scoring guard for you off the bench, I love that for them. Ron Holland at 17. Come on, how is he falling to 17? He has best player in the draft potential, and you're getting him at 17. I think this is reminding me of Cam Whitmore from last year. We're overthinking this, and I know there was a medical thing with Cam Whitmore, but the Lakers are getting an absolute steal here at 17. They would, for sure. I'm sure they want Rob Dillingham because of the clutch connection. 18, Orlando Magic, Nikola Topic. Wow. I mean, I guess this is where he could end up falling because of the partial ACL tear that could affect his games played in his rookie season. But you're drafting an 18, 19-year-old. You don't really care about his rookie season too much, especially if you're some of these teams that are picking ahead of Orlando that don't need to play Topic really next year. I'm sure if you're Washington and you're investing 2, or if you're a team like Charlotte and you're investing 6, yeah, you'd like to see Topic next year. But Orlando at 18, I mean, like, yeah, what's there to lose? Like, Anthony Block barely played for you, and he was the 6th overall pick. You have Jed Howard into the fold next year. Block's going to play more. You're going to be able to pay Malik Monk or some shooting guard in free agency. So, yeah, man, Topic at 18. Are you kidding me? That's great value. We still have yet to see Isaiah Collier. Tristan DeSilva going to the Raptors at 19. I love DeSilva. He's one of my guys in this draft. But, man, oh, man, do I really not love him in Toronto. I would like to see him on an Orlando, on a Lakers, on a Sixers, on a Heat, on a team that he can contribute in the playoffs, at least in the next couple of years, and I don't think Toronto is going to be in that conversation. I'm a little bit lower on Toronto's future than some other people. I don't know. There's a chance. I mean, I love Emmanuel Quickley next year, and I think he's going to be really good. I don't know if Scottie Barnes is going to take another leap. I'll have to really figure out if I believe in that. But I don't think Toronto is going to be a top 10 team in the East. I don't. I still like every team that finished ahead of them this year more than them, and that depends if Chicago blows it up. I like Atlanta more than them next year. I don't know if Charlotte or Detroit's going to take that jump for me, but I think Toronto could finish as the 3rd worst team in the Eastern Conference again this year, or around that part for sure. 20, Cavs getting Isaiah Collier. I mean, I would ship off Darius Garland tomorrow then. If you're getting Collier at 20, I don't think Collier is as good as like Garland was coming out of Vandy, but Collier could be one of the best point guards in this draft. He can get to the foul line, he can defend, and I think that would be a steal at 20. She even mentions he can end up being a steal at 20. Pelicans at 21 getting Yves Missi. I agree with that. I think they should go big man. She has still Edie on the board, Tower Smith. I would go with Yves Missi. I would go with Tower Smith, but I see the appeal with Yves Missi and his athleticism. I just don't think him and Zion will work out together. You really have 2 non-shooters that really live in the paint. Kolek at 22 to the Suns. I've mocked this before. Big fan of it. Think they need a point guard, and Kolek is going to be someone that should be available and is NBA ready for them, trying to win a title next year with Kevin Durant. De'Ron Holmes going to the Bucks at 23. I think he could also, I always forget about De'Ron Holmes, but I think he could be in play to the Pelicans at 21, can space the floor, and I like that a ton for Milwaukee. I think that's a potential like Bobby Portis or Brook Lopez replacement down the line. Knicks getting Terrence Shannon and Zach Edey at 24 and 25. Not going to lie, with all the combinations on the board, I hate these two. I do. I don't love Terrence Shannon to the Knicks. I'm a bigger fan of Kevin McCullough. I'm a bigger fan of Jalen Tyson. If you're going to go wing, Johnny Furphy, let me just double check, is still on the board in her mock. I'd like Johnny Furphy here. I'd also like, who's the one other wing? Ryan Dunn. I think I'd rather take a chance on Ryan Dunn. I mean, the Knicks have an early second if Ryan Dunn falls, but I don't really love Terrence Shannon. I think there's an upside thing here. I don't know if he's going to be a consistent enough shooter. He can attack the rim. He's athletic. I just don't know if I love him to the Knicks in the first round, maybe in the second. Zach Edey at 25. I don't know. I mean, they may lose Hartenstein. Mitchell Robinson's always hurt. So if they're getting a 3rd string center here, I could see that. But man, I'd rather them just end up with De'Ron Holmes if he's available, but he's not in this mock. But Tyler Smith's on the board. You know how I'd feel about that. Wizards at 26. That's where I'd love Edey to go. But they're getting Sarr in this draft. Imagine they ended up with Sarr and Edey. I kind of love that. Can we run Denny at the point next year? But they get Johnny Furphy at 26. That's where I would go. It's a little redundant with him and Kispert, but I would take the freshman out of Kansas there. He's my 5th best shooter in this draft coming into it. Cam Christie going in the first round in her mock. I see the potential. I see the upside in Cam Christie. There is definitely appeal for Minnesota to try to hit on this pick with the Cam Christie, then go with a safer guy like a Kevin McCullough or a Jalen Tyson. 28, Denver getting Tower Smith. Yeah, I think that's amazing, and I think Tower Smith could play next to Jokic. He could space the floor. There are maybe some defensive awareness issues, and we'll see how the ball handling is going to play at the NBA level. I think I'm a little too high on it for him in the G League, but maybe it's not going to translate. But yeah, I think that's a great pick for Denver at 28. I'm a fan of that. Whoa, she's got AJ Johnson to the Jazz at 29. I don't have a top 45 grade, maybe even a second round grade on AJ Johnson right now. There are, top high school guy, right? Commits, I believe, to Texas, decommits, goes to play in the NBL, raw as hell. Feel for the game is all over the place. He's got talent. I think there's defensive upside because of his 6'6", because of his good wingspan, but he is skinny. He's got to put on weight. He's a project play. And for the Jazz, who have a lot of rotational guys, I could see this. You could stash him. You could play him in the G League. They're no stranger to doing that. They did that with Sensabaugh, who was more NBA ready out of Ohio State last year. AJ Johnson may need 2 years to really get acclimated to the NBA level, but 29 I think is risky. I would take him in the second round. I would not take him in the first round whatsoever, with a couple other these guys on the board. I'm taking Ryan Dunn. I'm taking Jalen Tyson. I'm taking a lot of guys. Dembona. The list goes on and on. Baylor Shireman over AJ Johnson. And the Celtics getting Filipowski at 30, who is still on the board. I think if he falls to 30, they need big man depth. Cornette maybe isn't the greatest. Tillman's a free agent. Horford's getting up there in age, even though he's coming back next year. So I think they should definitely look at big man at 30 if Filipowski's on the board for sure. So, wow, AJ Johnson in the first round. I've yet to see that on a mock. So we can run through some of these second rounders. Toronto getting Jalen Tyson at 31. So they're going Jalen Tyson, true junior, and they're going Tristan Da Silva, true senior in this draft. I would like a little bit more upside going to Toronto, maybe, or a big man. Pakome Dadiet going to the Jazz at 32. I would even take AJ Johnson there, but wow, AJ Johnson and Pakome Dadiet. That's a lot of risk. That's a lot of risk in this draft. Baylor Shireman to the Milwaukee Bucks at 33. I would love that. Oh my God. Shout out to the Bucks having an early second this year. That is huge for them. And there's a guy they could definitely get. Kevin McCullough to the Blazers at 34. So you get McCullough, Keyshawn George, and Cody Williams. We're loading up on wings, which I'm all for in Portland. They don't need a center, right? They got Dwap Reed, they got Aiden and Time Lord all under contract, so they don't really need to draft a big. Dylan Jones going to the Spurs at 35. He's an interesting prospect. Numbers look great. Analytics stick out. He's just got a weird size and frame for a wing. Bobby Klitman to the Pacers at 36. That's really good value. I think Klitman's got some good upside, and I'd rather see him go to the Jazz there at 29, going back to that AJ Johnson pick. We got Justin Edwards to Minnesota at 37. I don't really love that fit for him. Just kind of screams Wendell more to me in Minnesota. Ryan Dunn to the Knicks at 38. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better about Terrence Shannon and Zach Edey because we got Ryan Dunn falling to the Knicks at 38. I'd love that for them. Enrique Freeman, okay, from Akron. Got to see him a little bit at the Combine. I will say I didn't watch a single game from him at Akron this year, but he stood out at the Combine for sure. Not a bad player. Definitely the highest I've seen him mocked. We get a big man in Portland at 40, a Dembona. That's great value. I have a borderline first round grade on a Dembona, so I'm all for that. Nikola Jurisic going to the Sixers at 41. I'm sure there's a lot of sleeper appeal in Jurisic, and I think he's got a raw feel for the game, but you eventually let him develop. That's a good value at 41. Trey Alexander, I like the shot creating ability at 42. I don't know if that will really become anything in Charlotte. Keyshawn Johnson at 43. Okay, I don't like Keyshawn Johnson as a prospect, but if he goes to the Miami Heat, he's going to learn how to be a 38% three-point shooter and play really hard defense on the perimeter. So I like that fit for Keyshawn Johnson. Harrison Ingram at 44. I think there's a little limitations with his size. Good shooter, but limited upside. Jonathan Mobo to the Kings at 45. 2 thumbs up for me. He's 6'6", but he's got good court vision. Damn, he's 6'6". If he was 6'8", I could talk myself into it a little bit more. Jamal Sheed going to the Clippers at 46. He's going to defend his ass off right away, but there are some offensive limitations, and there's going to be some inefficiencies. People are very high on Jalen Wells out of Washington State. I am not as high on him. He's going to the Magic at 47. I don't think the shot's going to be that consistent. Jalen Bridges, Spurs at 48. Cool with that. Ulrich Chomchi going to the Pacers at 49. Sure, this is fine value for him back half of the second round. Trevor Flowers out of Australia to the Pacers at 50. Good athleticism. Nice little cutter slasher type from him. Osei Ogadoro, Wizards 51. Love that. Best passing big man or top 3 passing big men in this draft. Pelly Larson, Warriors at 52. Fine with that. KJ Simpson, Pistons at 53. That's good value. Cam Spencer to the Celtics at 54. So they end up with 2 white dudes. Cam Spencer and Filipowski in this draft. But I like Cam Spencer. I think he's going to be a good shooter. High IQ player. Limited upside, obviously. Bronny James to the Lakers at 55. That's a fair mock. I think he should go 55. But if you're Detroit at 53, why not just draft him? What is he going to sit out? What is he going to not sign with you? That would be interesting. I would do that if I was Detroit. I'd rather take a flyer on him than take KJ Simpson, and I like KJ Simpson. AJ Mitchell go to the Nuggets at 56. Wow, thought he'd go closer to the first round. Juan Yunis, 57 to the Grizzlies, and Reese Beekman out of Virginia. a couple other guys I'd probably take at 58 over Beekman. But yeah, he's got good defensive ability. I don't think he's going to be much offensively going to Dallas to end out this mock. All right, so we are here on the ringer.com, Bill Simmons's media outlet, and they have their top guy, Kevin O'Connor, doing this mock draft today. And this is their most updated one right now. Kevin O'Connor, definitely a little bit more unique than some other draft outlet guys. I feel like definitely throughout the college season was a prisoner of the moment guy in his mocks. Like I remember he had Mark Sears and Terrence Shannon Jr. basically right outside the lottery at one point when Sears had a great run in the national or in the March Madness tournament, and Terrence Shannon had a great run in the Big Ten tournament. So we'll see what he has here and if he's going to buy into the hype of some of these guys. So to start things off, like we got Reese Shea at number 1 and we got Alex Sarr at number 2. So the same trend, like that's what I'm going to lean towards. My mock, I think, is going to be Reese Shea 1, Sarr 2. I would not do that. I would go Sarr 1. Reese Shea is my 4th ranked prospect. Would I take him 2? I don't know. I maybe for their fit and what they need. Maybe like Ron Holland wouldn't have the time to develop there, so I don't know if I would do that. I would probably go Reed Shepherd at 2, to be honest with you then. But yeah, I'm all for reset. Like if Reese Shea goes 1, Alex Sarr has to go number 2. Pretty much saying the same things as we've done throughout this video, as they're getting someone that could be a good defender right away, and then you're basically just hoping that he could be a consistent enough shooter right away. Needs to put on weight, needs to get more physical for sure. As Alex Sarr, it's a massive upgrade in that Washington big man group, right? Like you got Marvin Bagley, Rashawn Holmes, Tristan Vukcevic. It's pretty thin right now, and I'm cool with Sarr being the 5. If the rumors are true, he wants to play the 4. I mean, that's going to be a little bit of a weird fit because you got Denny and Bilal who need to start. Obviously, Kyle Kuzma is still on that roster right now, and you're paying Jordan Poole all this money, so you're probably going to assume he's going to either start or play a ton of minutes. So I don't know if there's really a chance for Sarr to really be a power forward right away. 3 and 4, we do have Reed Shepherd going 3. That's pretty much been a consistent thing. It's funny, 1 and 2 have been interchangeable, but 3 has been very consistent with Reed Shepherd going to Houston. So pretty much what I've been saying throughout this whole video. Like this a lot and could see the long-term vision with him and Amen Thompson playing off each other. Because if you worry about Reed's defense, Amen is right there to help him out. And if you worry about Amen shooting, Reed is right there to help him out. So Buzelis is a little bit of a shakeup at number 4. I don't love that at all, actually, because I don't really think he's better than Jeremy Sohan next year. And can you rely on him to come off the bench? Maybe. I don't know what Keldon Johnson's role on this team is going to be next year, but I just don't think Buzelis is going to be able to shine in San Antonio unless you're just banking on, all right, whoever plays with Wemby and is going to be able to get the open looks because Wemby is going to get all the attention, they're going to be able to grow no matter who it is. So then I would probably look at some other prospects, but I do think Stephon Castle is a better fit here at number 4. I would like Ron Holland over Buzelis because I think they need defense in that room. Like Wemby was a top 2 defender in the league last year, and they were still one of the worst defenses in basketball. You need defensive-minded guys, but Buzelis is projected to be a plus defender at the NBA level. So on to 5, we got Cody Williams going to the Detroit Pistons. You know what? I don't hate it. This team needs defense and it needs shooting, and if you think Cody Williams could be a good shooter right away, at least in a limited kind of form where he's only taking maybe 2 threes a night, and you're asking him to maybe get open looks, and like he's like cutting and slashing, like he's got the athleticism and the finishing ability right away. Do I think he's going to be a good enough driver right away, like him isolating his own shots and getting to the rim downhill? No, I mean, he's a little clumsy with the ball, but I think playing off of Cade Cunningham could be great for him. Playing off of Jaden Ivey could also help as well. And I think he could be a solid enough defender right away. So you know what? I don't hate this. He's 6'6", 6'7", but I think he plays a little bit taller than that. So I'm honestly all for Cody Williams in Detroit, and I feel like that's somebody Trajan Langdon could like. 6, Stephon Castle to the Hornets. Well, I guess he wouldn't really love this because that is true that Stephon Castle wants to go to a team that doesn't have a franchise point guard. He's probably one of the better point guards in this top 6, joining like Cade Cunningham and joining Trae Young. So yeah, Castle would be a little bit more off ball, but I think also LaMelo Ball could be off ball a little bit as well. And I think LaMelo could work as an off ball like runner, and then also could be in his shot creating role. He can obviously play make for Stephon Castle, who's a great off ball player and played like that at Duke with Tristan Newton and Cam Spencer handling the rock. And they need to get better on the defensive end of the floor as well. So that could be Stephon Castle. So that's 2 thumbs up from me. And then if LaMelo ever gets injured, which I've been harping around this offseason, like Mark Williams has been been hurt throughout his career. LaMelo Ball's been hurt throughout his career. Like, you kind of have to have some insurance plans for when these guys go down. Even if it's for 15 games, you need somebody to step up to just kind of weather the blow where you're okay with that. I feel like I just combined two sayings in weather the storm and soften the blow. So you know what I mean, though, if somebody does get hurt. Donovan Clingan at 7. If he's on the board, I'm fine with Portland doing that. I mean, when Aiden, like, started fully in the second half of the year, he's not bad offensively. And him and Grant are, like, serviceable enough. This team, I think, just needs depth. At least in the sense of, yeah, another big man. Like, Duop Reith, fun story and all, but I think Clingan is someone that could help them massively off the bench, and that could be in play at 7 if you don't want to go the Ron Holland route, or if you don't want to take a guard, which I feel like a lot of Blazers fans don't want to see them do. So we go Buzelis at 4 and Devin Carter at 8. In this mock, they'd have a chance to go Stephon Castle at 4, Rob Dillingham at 8. I love Devin Carter, and Devin Carter's a winning caliber player, and him in San Antonio would be really fun. As someone that still has some stock in Malachi Branham, I wonder if that would hurt it a little bit, but he's going to be a good defender. He's going to hit some big-time shots. He's going to dive for some loose balls. He's a really good player, man, and as San Antonio wants to improve on the win total next year, which they most likely will, Carter could be that guy. There's some better guys on the board, I think, but I'm all for Carter in San Antonio. I like that at 8. I just don't really like Buzelis at 4. Number 9, Ron Holland to Memphis. This may be a perfect scenario for him. Like I said, I've been harping on how good his defense is right away. And athleticism plays, man. Like, I think he's just as athletic as athletic, wow, I can't speak, as the Thompson twins were going to last year's draft. And he's going to be able to, I think, create his own shot. But playing in that run and gun, hard-nosed style of Memphis, and a team that is young still, but wants to win, I think is a perfect environment for Ron Holland, who wants to do the same. We got Dalton Knecht going at 10 to the Utah Jazz. I don't really love him in Utah. I think with Isaiah Collier, Nikola Topic still on the board, I pivot to that route. I think you can still go more of an upside play if you like Tijon Salon a ton. Knecht is a top 10 player in this class. I guess Utah could use another wing and someone that's a more consistent scorer and shooter than Jordan Clarkson. Like, I wouldn't be shocked. Is like, in a vacuum, Dalton Knecht is a better player than Jordan Clarkson next year, even though they're a decent amount of years apart in age. So Knecht could be a player that wants to help Utah. I just don't know what direction they're going in until they figure out what they're doing with Lauri Markkanen. Are they trading him? Are they extending him? Are they just letting this year play out, which is very risky to do. Number 11, we end up having Rob Dillingham go to Chicago. This was updated a couple days ago, so this was before the Giddey trade. Either way, Dillingham with Kobe White, with Adesumu. Not a lot of good defensive guards there for sure, and Zach LaVine as well. I don't know if I would have done that, to be honest with you. I think I would have looked at maybe Tijon Salon here. I think I would have looked at Khalil Ware here. And if I'm going to go with guard, I like Nikola Topic, who could set up Kobe White and Adesumu. Dillingham is someone that I think is just very repetitive with Kobe White, and I don't know if having a lot of that like style of play works out for you. Zach Edey at 12. All right, that's like the first time I've seen Zach Edey go to the OKC Thunder. I mean, this team needs rebounding. They need size. I'd just rather go more athleticism than Khalil Ware, like Yves Missi at number 12. I think with Tijon Salon still on the board, I'd look into him. Jared McCain if you want some shooting as well. Obviously, this is before the Caruso deal, so you don't really need to prioritize defense too much here. So I'm fine with them adding a big. Edey at 12 is kind of high, but you know what? If Presti likes Edey, then I'm going to start to like Edey because Presti's obviously a very good drafter. 13, we have Nikola Topic going to the Kings. With Malik Monk coming back, this is interesting. I mean, this could be an eventual Davion Mitchell replacement, but obviously you have your franchise player or one of them in De'Aaron Fox playing 30-something minutes a night, and I feel like Fox wasn't talked about a ton this year. I mean, Sabonis was probably the better player throughout the regular season, but I think with just some wings still on the board, I'd look at them. I'd look at the upside in Tijon Salon. I'd look at Tristan Da Silva here. I'd look at Jared McCain just for some shooting. Topic, I don't really know what role he serves because I don't know if he could play alongside De'Aaron Fox as much as I think like Jared McCain could. 14, Tijon Salon going to the Portland Trailblazers. I like that a ton. So they get Donovan Clingan at 7, Tijon Salon at 14. I'm cool with these high upside, lanky, good defenders right away. Whoa! Tyler Kolek to the Heat at 15. That is the first time I've seen that. I think I said in the CBS one that 17 was the highest I've seen him. Well, 15 is probably the highest I've seen him now. That would be kind of insane. I don't know if Miami needs to go that route. I would just go Jared McCain here. And once again, for Miami, I think they would be a really good team that could develop Bub Carrington. And if they really like Kolek, I think they should trade down. Tristan DeSilva going to the Sixers at 16, I think could give you those Tobias Harris minutes next year, and you're getting that from a 23-year-old rookie rather than someone that's making $40 million a year, right? Or whatever Tobias Harris was making last year. The Lakers go Khalil Ware at 17. I like that a ton. If you are serious about moving AD back to the 4, Ware could be a perfect guy next to him. Jared McCain at 18, I mean, is fantastic value. I would be so shocked if he fell to 18. I don't think there's any point for a lot of these teams passing up on him, like a Philadelphia, even a Lakers team. Like, you're going to probably lose D'Lo this offseason. Jared McCain can help you out right away and can even run some fun young lineups out there with him and Jalen Hood-Schifino together. 15, I don't think Miami would pass up on him. Sacramento at 13, I think is still good value. And I mean, if OKC wants more consistent shooting as well, take him at 12. I just don't think McCain falls to 18 for just his shooting, playmaking ability, and I think he's an underrated defender. I know he's a little bit shorter, but I just see a lot of Emmanuel quickly in him. 19, Jacoby Walter going to Toronto. This is mocked a ton. I mean, this is such a high upside play, and Toronto, I think, should go that route rather than going somebody on the older side here with the 19th overall pick. Bob Carrington at 20. Weird if they have, or if they bring back Darius Garland and you have Craig Porter Jr., but I think he could play a little bit off ball as well because he is a good shooter. He's a top 10 shooter in this class for me, and I could be like an eventual replacement to one of the backcourt guys if they're not there long term. So I think value enough is there for Bob Carrington at 20, where I don't hate it. Yves Missi at 21 to the Pelicans. It's a good pick. I don't think him and Zion could really be great offensively next to each other because neither of them is spacing the floor, but they would both have great value. If Isaiah Collier, oh my God, man, if he falls to 22, that is such a steal for Phoenix. I would just be like, Knicks, trade up, or Washington, move up from 26. Please get Isaiah Collier. Wow, that is insane. That is insane that he falls to 22 when I think he's a borderline top 10 player in this draft. I would have thought about him at number 10, and they have him going 22. Bobby Clement to the Bucks at, I mean, like, that's fantastic for Phoenix. Bobby Clement to the Bucks at 23. I can get behind that for sure. Length, speed, strength, and can play with Giannis out there as well, and I think is actually more NBA ready than people think he is. Johnny Furphy to the Knicks at 24, Ryan Dunn at 25. You hit the shooting aspect, you hit the defense aspect. I'm cool with that. Johnny Furphy, I don't think is going to be a good defender right away. Don't think Ryan Dunn's going to be a good shooter right away, but I think the Knicks, like, if this is the way the draft is falling, keep these picks. Get the depth pieces. Get these 2 first-round picks, man. Keyshawn George to the Wizards, 26. They need to add defense, and George could be that guy, but they get another wing here. They got to move Kuzma this offseason, right? They really do. KJ Simpson to the Timberwolves at 27. I mean, was the combine standout? I don't know if there's some other point guards I would rather target here. Do I like him or AJ Mitchell? I mean, I think I'm fine with KJ Simpson. And you have Kolek off the board. You have, like, Collier, Bob Carrington, all those guys off the board. So I guess I see that. I just think, like, it's funny. Like, I'm not saying this on Kevin O'Connor. I do this myself. Like, we're all like, Minnesota needs a point guard. They need a point guard, right? Like, Monty Morris, free agent. Mike Conley's getting old. They don't, like, some teams never end up doing this, right? Like, some things are too obvious that they just don't end up happening. Deron Holmes at 28 is fantastic value for Denver. Oh my God. And I think that was the rumored promise. Tyler Smith to the Jazz at 29. You guys know how I feel about Tyler Smith. I would love that. Him and Dalton connect in the same draft is fun. And to finish out the first round, it's Terrence Shannon to the Boston Celtics at number 30. They get a scorer off the bench. Yeah, I think with, like, him on the board, Jalen Tyson, you can't go wrong with one of those prospects. Yeah, so actually Kevin O'Connor and the Nuggets thing said that, like, the Nuggets made him the promise. We'll see if that happens. We will. So I'm going to kind of breeze through this second round here. Filipowski falling out of the first. That's shocking. Like, it's crazy. I love this draft. The CBS Sports mock had Cal Filipowski at 12. Kevin O'Connor has him at 31, and we are less than a week away from the draft. I love this, man. I do. Harrison Ingram, kind of high for me. I don't know if I agree with that at 32. Baylor Shireman, I mean, I think is great value to Milwaukee at 33. If you're getting Bobby Clement and Baylor Shireman in this draft, those are pieces that can contribute right away for you next year. Wow, he's got Trendon Flowers. I mean, one of the more athletic players in this draft and can cut and slash. Like, he was pretty good at the combine. 34. That's really high. Jamal Sheed, 35. Also pretty high that I've seen him, but they could use another defender just a little bit shorter, but stocky guy that can really hold his own. Love the value of Cam Christie to the Pacers at 36. Pacome Dadiet to the Timberwolves at 37. I don't know if they're going to be that patient with him. Nikola Jurisic to the Knicks at 38. I wonder if he's going to come over right away. I guess he will. But he could be just like a draft and stash, which the Knicks could definitely use. So I'm fine with that at 38. Reminds me of like Rokas Jokubaitis or or Kostas Papanikolaou. We got Jalen Tyson to the Grizzlies at 39. Oh my God, that is great value for Memphis. You're getting Ron Holland and Tyson, two guys that want contact, that will get to the rim. Huge fans of that. I'm not a big fan of AJ Johnson as a prospect. In the Yahoo one, like Kristen, she mocked him, I believe, in the first round. 40. I don't know if I'm going to have him in my draft. We'll see. Jalen Bridges to the Sixers at 41. I like that. Edwards to the Hornets at 42. That's fine. Ulrich Chomchi just does not scream Miami Heat to me at 43. No. I like Jonathan Mogbo. Man, I wish he was a little taller because he's 6'6" and plays like a big Tari Eason-esque. PJ Hall to the Kings at 45. They need a big man. I think I'd rather them go after like try to get Mogbo, but obviously he's off the board. It's a shame Ethan Almanza did not end up going into this draft. Kevin McCullough, 46. Wow. Dude, this draft is really one of a kind. Because I feel like McCullough is a first-round guy. He's him going 46. Pele Larson, 47. Melvin Ajinka, 48. All right, Tristan Newton, 49. Keyshawn Johnson, 50. Juan Nunez, 51. Adem Bona, 52. There's your Trace Jackson Davis again, Golden State. That is great value. Cam Spencer, 53 to the Pistons. Zion Pullen, who I'm not even familiar with, to the Celtics at 54. Bronny James makes sense at 55. I'll probably mock that myself. Dylan Jones, borderline first-round talent, same with ABJ Mitchell going at the end of the second, and then Jalen Wells going there at 58. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy that long video of me reacting to 6 different mock drafts. My official mock draft will either come out tomorrow or on Monday, so be on the lookout for that. If you guys did enjoy any of these, I would appreciate you if you dropped a thumbs up. I'll leave a link to all these articles and videos in the description below. Make sure you check out the Just Ballin' podcast as well. That's where the Yahoo reaction came from. Also, thank you all for watching and listening, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.